Everyone Sanai, be happy, have a peaceful time. I can't see your. Is this okay? Right. There's some people behind. All right. Okay. Yeah, lot to read. How many of you have finished that, to the page I told yesterday? All of you? No. Did you read or you couldn't manage yet? What about you? No. Managed full. Give it. Lot to read. So it's like, did you all finish? Who couldn't finish? Can you raise your hand? Like, are you near to that page or near? Are you near? Yeah, okay. Yes. Actually, these 5 days is more difficult than the 10-day retreat because of my greed for you all to get enlightened. I'm putting the 10-day 10-day things also into the 5-day. It's not easy. I know some people, they, they said, there's tears are coming in their eyes. They can't read. So I told them with the magnifying glass also, just read because that's actually breaking your karma, your karmic body and the karmic situation. It's so fighting, now. And if some people now can settle, it's a great thing. Not easy, this opportunity or these conditions for you to come. These conditions are coming for you to liberate yourself. Just imagine. So it's simply just a one thought, one moment can make a big difference in this for your life. As far as I see, actually for your whole life, it can be a big change because your vision, your view of this world will have to change. Will change. Changing that will change the entire thing. How you look at it. It's not trying to touch heaven or it's something going beyond heaven also. So, but it's so near, just near. That focus is the one that we are trying to get now. But now you have to read so fast, so it doesn't matter. Time to time, you get that opportunity to contemplate. Meanwhile, few minutes even. Any questions so far while you were doing this? Where's that other gentleman? He's there, no? This gentleman here, normally seated. He's not coming daily, no? He's going out daily partisan. So he doesn't residentially stay, no? He comes in the morning and goes. But I hope people who have now been residential, they don't become. Then it's okay. If they've already come that way and they're there like that, that's okay. They look like that for me now, and I suddenly think they change quickly. Okay, no problem. It's okay. So all of you are like residential. Any questions you had so far? Or any like some difficulty or anything like that? Or things are okay? You just got busy with the reading? Did you do that? All of you who didn't do that, raise your hand. No, no, then okay. That's what you have to do in silence, much as possible. There's a lot of space here. I'm just thinking it's such a blessing to be in such. You can do anything, you can become anything, and this is the way you have to be one day if you want to liberate yourself. No difference. Of course, I have no these facilities, but similar. The river and all this solitude, nature, something similar I spend also. Sometimes no human being at all. That's a different thing. So that you must create it yourself. It's a nice opportunity to just relax yourself and go through and not to be in a stress too. I must realize something you might understand, something you might not, but the simple thing that you must little bit even understand or apply, That will be a big achievement. So if you are, all of you are near to the last what I told, no? So I will start the next one, a very important shift. By this time, when you have read all this, now when you look at things, like now maybe you are hearing me now speaking, or any other experience before that. How do you see them? Do you notice them now, like their rupa, form, feeling, perception, like that? Do you notice like that? I mean, do you now can feel that this is only nothing but body, feeling, perception? Or do you feel still, like you can think like that? Can you think like that? Or does it also now, by in a way, force come to you that you can think this is nothing but body, feeling, perception? Hmm? How many of you don't feel like that yet? You don't feel like that? You, okay. Did you read? You read, no? The whole thing. It's so it's like repeating, right? Again, this body, feelings, perception, and you also made up of a body, feeling, perception, right? So now when I'm talking like this, can you just think suddenly I'm hearing, and that is part of the body is working, and there's feelings, perceptions. And it always talks about the body is not me, not I, and something like that. So some idea is working like that when I'm talking to you. Little bit of. Oh, very good, very good, very good. Okay. Mindset completely. Yeah, okay, okay, okay. Very good, very good. That much is okay. If someone shouts at you, you can little bit handle, right? Maybe someone shout at you, or maybe something, a dog comes barking. Maybe this might help you to not to feel this is not like not my body, not my feeling. That's good. I got something. Yes, my friend. Mhm. That's uh-huh. Identities of what of the past. Okay. While you're reading, oh, it they come out. Okay. Okay, I understand. That's okay. That should come out because something unexpected will also come out, and that shows what is underlying also. And it's like a washing process or a cleansing process. It's also like I would say, this is also called tapasya. Do you know the word tapasya? No, no. Tapasya means ascetic cleansing, because this is actually a practice done by saints. Hmm? To become a saint and who on the way to sainthood. So sainthood means being a pure person, pure. So all what is in what was impure, whatever you call, that will come out, come up. But you can stick to this thought, contemplating and reading. It's going to clear these things very much. One day you have to clear it. So now you have come to a point where you are cleared. And if you didn't go get this opportunity, suddenly we face death or something, it's not going to be very nice. So now we are getting the tools to face this a great opportunity. There are some occasions, Buddha's time too. They said it's terrible for me. I'm practicing. I'm getting so many sensual thoughts. I'm so much, I'm getting all these bad thoughts while I'm doing this good practice. And Buddha said, "Don't worry." And he gives a nice example of a whole herd of buffalo crossing a big river. And then he says that all the big buffaloes, they don't worry, they can cross the current very easily. But then there's a small calves who hang to the mother, and to her, what is that, her breast, where he gets the milk, and then hangs on to that, and then goes crossing to the other shore. Same way with difficulty, even you find it so difficult, all these negative thoughts you're facing now, they're coming out, that you are sticking, and then reflecting the master and going refuge to this master, and then also even a little bit you begin to think this is not me, not I. That's going to burn off those all those things. And even from your soul heart you regret, or you think, oh, it's all gone. Then like Jesus can remember one prostitute, she came and touched his feet and cried, and the priests were telling, well, this is so impure. He said, no, no, let her do the prostration, and that all her sin will be washed away immediately, and tell her, don't sin no more. That's how he sent this prostitute. Actually, that shows, because then the priest was asking, why, how do you do that? Then he said, what is the essence of the Christian this thing? It is said from the heart and soul, that something regarding that. I can understand when they say from the heart and soul, then they are more closer to heaven than who are like from outside doing lip service to the teachings. So this is one way we have in the practice to the Buddha. We call it Buddha Lambana Piti. We think of the Buddha's qualities and all that, you feel so much elated. But beyond that, you're now doing the highest way of purifying, to be mindful and aware and creating wisdom. So sometimes it might not get clear focus, because all our karmas are starting to, but they will get quickly cleared more than in any other process. So just have, now today's your third day or second day? Third day. Okay, so you're coming to like a peak in the mountain. All right. All right. Tomorrow will be a fourth day, but today there'll be this afternoon there'll be a shift of your kamatana or meditation object. There will be, just now I'll be starting that. You must start that. So just start that and complete slowly that whatever part you have to complete in that. This section you're already going through. Okay. Mm. Yes, from a restaurant. Yes. I know you're not fast enough. Yeah. Correct. Correct. I will tell you how I now I see why how I cut it also. Because say you're in kind of samadhi, okay, all this sila is there. This sila is there to for you to get to samadhi. Now, Buddha has laid down those practices for you to get there. When you're already there, you know how this sila is automatically practiced by you. You understand? Then you know what the Buddha is verbally telling. Indriya Sangvara, Pratimuksha, like this. That's why sometimes when people complain too many sealers, like one monk complained to the Buddha, 227 rules I can't follow. Just imagine someone coming to the Buddha and talking like that also. Buddha's time, there were such people too. So then Buddha said, can you follow one? Then he said, yeah, that is easy. One is okay. Then he said, can you look at your own thoughts like this? So now when you attain samadhi, because from the five senses, it's all nothing but the defilements are trying to come. They are trying to work. Hmm? Something desirable, something irritating. So now when the desires really get absent, only you get samadhi. So now the Indriya Sangvara, it is actually, the other thing is, if you analyze, contemplate also, you can, what it is, cut away the desire. That's in the highest way. But your analyzing and contemplation depends on your level of concentration power. Depending on that level only, you will be doing that. Now, concentration power is depending on your sila. So I tell, like, if you have a broken sila, you will have a broken samadhi. If you have a broken samadhi, you will have a broken wisdom. So they are interrelated. So I know, like, very people. Now, if you are practiced for long years, I got used to this practice. Tell you honestly, when I was a young boy, I'm remembering as a young boy when I was 18 years old. Okay, so I remember, I don't know how to share this. Like Dickman's Road, I was walking from my grandma's place, sometimes to Isipatana Rame, like this. Just I have returned, I've come from Lesotho. So I remember I used to walk across, I used to walk, and those days, automatically, this practice was there. From the age of 18, when this some experience about the Anityata, things happen. So I was changed personality completely, like a yogi. But I was enjoying a peacefulness. Didn't talk much also. I was quite to myself. And then I remember I used to pass, suddenly now I'm passing some people, and I remember two ladies coming girls coming this way, and I was going like this, walking, and I remember I don't notice them, but I heard them later. Wow, how does he do that? They were telling like this because I didn't look at all, I guess. So this non-looking or not contacting at all, it is an important thing to you can try. So then you can contemplate. Soon as you're able to like kind of apparahing again. Like now I told you I'm now I can see details and I look. But now I can look at like this, where I'm just seeing people, but I'm not focused. This you have to your eyeball will change when you're like that you have to train. Now we have got used to so much looking like this, like things are real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To mental faculty. You mean as a, like coming thoughts and all that, or without the five senses, like in the mind, the thoughts? Yeah, but it depends on the five senses how you get allow them to come. Then they increase. More you can control the five senses, then that will decrease. The thoughts come because they can't get formed unless you get some impressions from the five senses, and they are the ones that nourishes those thoughts to come more. The more you have control five senses, you get less of those thoughts also coming. Mhm. Anybody else? No. Today, if I okay, it is also told it's easy. Then you don't have to become a monk to practice that, and the monks are supposed to practice crores of what is that? Quote yes, Sangre. Crores of restraint sila. Hmm? So everybody asks this how this word comes. So we know very clearly how do you practice that is by sense restraint. So anyone could practice that, not to look at the details and not to look at the details from sound. Sometimes we are staying Armstrong, and you can hear what is this love songs going, like in the homes and all that. Premas Sindhu Gita. Yeah? In Pindapati, no, we are staying arms round. Okay, so how we don't, what is this? I used to change it like this: love for all living beings, to compassion. That tune I used to take. I would not try to not to hear and like try to fight with it, but then change it to and then get more metta. Another time there was this heavy metal, doom, doom, doom. You have to be a little imaginative. So this was old time when I used to go in the village so many like every day. Ratgama, from Polgasdu, Parappadu, we used to row every day. So suddenly you hear this heavy beat, heavy metal, right? And this bass, doom, doom, doom. You can't really stop hearing that. So I used to imagine like arahants walking, um, walking with so much mindfulness and mental power and breaking all their defilements and get more inspiration. So you have to imagine, sometimes you must learn to be a little tactfully, not to sort of this thing. Otherwise, the mind, it's a funny thing. It's a very subtle thing. When you reject it, it comes more. So don't reject too much. Don't go into it also. So you have to find that balance. 154. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Savasti, in Jetas Grove, Anathapindika Park. There, the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus thus: Bhikkhus, Venerable Sir. Those bhikkhus replied, the Blessed One said this: Bhikkhus, the eye is impermanent. Now, I know I have told you, like, normally when you're reading this, they are all meditation objects. You must relaxingly sit down, look at yourself from from outside, and then just relaxingly more, and then when they say bhikkhu the eye is impermanent, you should generally get an idea of your own eye. Okay, eye is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is not self. What is not self should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. The ear is impermanent, the nose is impermanent, the tongue is impermanent, the body is impermanent. So when they are going, you must not go fast. They must direct your attention to each organ. Okay, but now when you have to do it initially for some time, but later you find now you have to cover this amount of pages, then don't worry like that. Okay, you have to then keep on reading. Okay, because this based on now this retreat is for 5 days, 4 days or 5 days. So if you do fast like that, you'll get something for sure. That's why I'm telling you to read so fast. But other one, whether you get the visions or insights, that is you are given some opportunity, but in this short time, um, because it's not sure, that's why I tell you to complete reading so many pages, so many sutras, so that I know something will happen to your mind that is positive for your future journey. The ear is impermanent, the nose is impermanent, tongue is impermanent, the body is impermanent, the mind is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non self. What is non self should be seen as it really is. Now, you can also picture this. What is impermanent, you see it disappear in your own eye, ear, nose, tongue. So, one day, which has that nature of disappearing, if you had something experienced from your eyes as pleasant, hmm, something suffering, maybe you like to die, okay? Something that is really creating you problem or suffering, you are waiting when I'm going to die, so when I'm going to leave this world. All right, that is okay, that is already suffering. But something that is very pleasurable, something nice, that your eye is going to or your body is going to disintegrate or finish one day, is sadness, no? To leave something really dear to you. So it's nothing but suffering in this world. You engage yourself with your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. That's why Buddha calls this the truth of suffering, because of this definite impermanent nature of our experiences. By seeing this, you get desirelessness, and then you come to final bliss, true bliss. That's another way. It's not telling Buddha in this suffering and just waiting. He gives answer also, a way out of suffering. The ear is impermanent, the nose is impermanent, the tongue is impermanent, the body is impermanent, the mind is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What I say, does it make sense? Does it make sense? Do you understand my English? Okay. I'm going back to my high school days. And then with my, I feel very comfortable, tell you honestly, like I've been taken out of a prison, just speaking English. because because these people are the ones who got this quickly, because they have been protecting this great truth. So maybe the ancestors, and they are really there to get the get this opportunity first when Swaminathan is coming out. Or the Sri Lankan, the Sri Lanka also especially, they are getting the chance to, because definitely they have been, that whole land has been a land from the kings to protect this. They have been vowed, even in the constitution, we have to protect the Buddha's teaching. So this like given so much. If you go to Sri Lanka, you'll notice, the monks are given like, more than the president or prime minister or anybody. Unfortunately, our monks are, you know, uh, not protecting that greatness sometimes. But it's like there's such a land. Still, is potent, is there. You just some spark. I believe only another spark is necessary, and it will just flame in the hearts of those great people. The ear is impermanent, the nose is impermanent, the tongue is impermanent, the body is impermanent, the mind is impermanent. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non self. What is non self should be seen as it really is with correct wisdom. Thus, this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. You can put now the mind is impermanent. Even a meditation experience, you felt peaceful, and sometimes that is also changing. That will also finish. Suddenly, people come, you hear sounds, and that peacefulness is broken. And so there's nothing lasting, any feeling, because it's experienced through a sense door, eye, ear, or a nose, or a tongue. Especially peace is experienced through the mind, and that's also sense door. Do you understand what I'm saying? The back. So my English is not bad, right? Okay. Yeah, I am. Okay. Where are you from originally? Spain. Oh, okay, okay. Just living here. All right. I had a very devoted lady from Spain. Spain, yes. I told some stories about in Buddha Gaya. They uh, some those days. Yeah, a lot of people. But you understand what I'm saying. I think this is okay. You can read. What is impermanent is suffering. What is suffering is non-self. What is non-self should be seen as it really is, with correct wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. This this is not myself. This will come. You will also get a clarity of this when you imagine yourself. Imagine means you must reflect and imagine how your eye, your ear, nose will pass away. So what is going to pass away, bound to pass away, will be suffering. And what is having these qualities of impermanence and suffering, can you call this is me? Hmm? No. Now, if you believe or if you have some idea there's previous lives, just imagine we would, if we can dig with somewhere where they buried us, if they buried us, still maybe the bones are there. Maybe if you can know the history of the person or the information of the person, the name must be there. That time, maybe you were John, maybe you were Jenny, or I don't know. These two names only come to my mind. And so some name was given, and that time you brush your teeth and thinking this is me. So that made karma and got this body again, another body. So just imagine you had that body that time. Where is it? So this body is going to same thing going to happen. Same thing going to happen. So when you look like that ahead, the reality that's going to happen, then you lose the idea is this is me. Because you see a change and transformation from one to the other. But when you're now looking without that reflection, that without that wisdom of reality, you begin to feel this is real. That's normally what we are, because we are normally not going to think about it. We're just experiencing, we really recognize that person as that person, as the person we see visually. And that happens like even in warfare situations where you have comrades, your own colleagues, and you are really attached to them also. Some of them have told me when I had to sleep like one night, some nights in the camps. Actually, I cut across those days the terrorist area. I was like a wandering monk. And then I remember I had this conversation with the Gamma regiment. That was the last I stayed before I entered the. Have you heard of the LTT? Like those days we had Sri Lanka, they had the insurgents, or not insurgents, they are the terrorists, hmm? Tamil Tigers. So I was entering their area. So one night, before that night, I had to stay in. So they used to tell me like suddenly a mortar comes and suddenly blasts. Suddenly your own colleague who was there talking to you, just dead. And then you really think of life. They were telling me, what is this? Like you had your own friend here talking to you like this, and now just a body, a dead body. So in that case, also you just begin to see, but this is to be known while you are alive. That means you are very mindful always. You're seeing always the final nature of bodies or situations. Enlightened person normally, I think, they will constantly be in that intensity of seeing the truth, reality always. But normally us, we will be thinking, taking these things as very real. But when we do this practice, it will happen. This is not mine, this I am not, this not myself. Seen thus because the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards the eye, revulsion towards the ear. Now, when you're doing that, if you're watching your own eye, ear, nose, you'll be applying. I'm going. Then I will get this desirelessness to my own ear, eye, nose, tongue, body, mind. Okay. So you are creating another body in you, a spiritual body. You do it enough, you're already creating like another eye of mind, mental eye, where you're seeing this eye is not mine, this nose is much not mine, tongue is not mine, your own this thing. If you're created, you have to create this. This is why you're reading this, so that you're creating that special eye. Hmm? If you're doing it constant for a long time, it will happen. Okay. Now at least a seed is being sown in your toward the eye revulsion. This is the truth also. And you might really deeply understand it also. At least you are now coming closer to some understanding. And if you repeatedly do these things, you will deeply understand also. Towards the eye, revulsion towards the ear, revulsion towards the nose, revulsion towards the tongue, revulsion towards the body, revulsion towards the mind. Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. When it's liberated, there comes the knowledge, it's liberated. He understands. When you read and apply also, you begin to get some peacefulness. Hmm? So if you had unnecessary thinking, that will be just left aside. When you really apply what is said here, not bringing your own ideas and trying to analyze Buddha also. If you analyze Buddha also, you must have some faith that he's telling something and you must try it out. Just, otherwise, if you now try to, if you have some doubt about these words and all that, it's a problem, also difficult. So you must at least try and apply and see, and you'll feel immediately so much peace. It's a heaviness to hold to your own ear, the sounds and memories that has come from your ear from previous time. These are all mental heaviness. Now you begin to see his final nature and just tell to yourself, let go, let go. Not because you're angry with somebody or something, because now you're reflecting. And now immediately you will get a sense of some lightness. That is not your problem. This is not me. Like that, you will begin to. I have never been there. That is not me. It doesn't feel real. Okay. Yeah, it is not easy because our desires make it look very real. It's connected with our desires. So certain extent now, like in a retreat like this, at least few days now, you have reduced your desires to a certain extent. Then it might become slowly looking real. At least for a short while, it might become real. That will be like a seed. Be a seed. So at least you're on the path towards that, and then there are chances of you to now something, and maybe later on after the retreat, when you're going, suddenly you are forced to practice because of the challenging situation, and you remember the practice, and that might give you also. It will happen slowly. Not easy. Solitude very important. Like actually, in a deep solitude, this will become very. It could become very clear. So that you have to have some patience. Some things became clear little to me also when I was like I used to meet my teacher. Already some things in South Africa I had my own ideas, but then when I met my teacher, sometimes when he's explaining, I felt little clear. It became little clear. Then when I went to solitude, suddenly those things helped me, and then it became like a full blown. But this you have to enjoy trying this for some time. So at least like that, even you have chances now. You see, we don't know in the future these books will be gone, this encouragement will be gone, And even now, how little, very few beings will, slowly, slowly. It's just a normal thing of going, making karma and dying and reborn. It's going on. Only very few beings will opportunity where they're looking at life, thinking what is life, and trying to know. This will be very few. And even one's own life, you can check. Most of the time, you have been busy with just living, and only. But this is also because of some, definitely some previous habit, previous lives, something that, sometimes you find in the family you might be the only person, or who is really looking to things like this. And but who have brought this from before, they will be having that drive. They will be definitely searching. I told you, I see some people who have the drive, they are definitely going to come out of it. That's the secret. Not so much having knowledge or this or that. No, that inner spark is there. I want to know, I want to go on this path. These people, they are going to go. Some people I meet, I'm very interesting, and I see, I'm seeing means I'm kind of feeling like they actually, that soul is evolving. They just come here and then they are getting the suitable environment situations, want to live as well as go on the path. So I see they are doing it, and they as time years goes by, they will, when they're getting quite old, also they will be quite accomplished. This I'm noticing. I don't know. It's my own observation. Soul or thought? Sorry. The thought or what? What thought? Yeah. Hmm. Body in other environment. Maybe the memory also won't be there of what has happened. Not maybe, normally not there. You come like a new person. Yeah, this you can remember how the last moment we get a thought, we explain, and because the thought is there, there's an object for consciousness, right? And then the consciousness arises. So consciousness is a conditioned thing. So next birth also, what continues is a consciousness. So now that moment you get a thought and then you get a consciousness, then your next life starts. Okay. So the next life also in the say mother's womb or in a Gandharva state or whatever. So in the mother's womb, there also you are having similar. You are that thought you're going to finish, another thought will come, another thought will come. Like what's happening now. Hmm? So it is it's never going to be permanent. It's a conditioned thing. Then another thought will come, then another one, but it may be in that direction of that karma. Karmic patterns are there. Like a certain period, more happiness is just coming, and other periods more worry, fear, like that. Like that, it depends on the karma. It's called karma vara, like periods of karma. So now what triggers initially at the rebirth, that will take place, and then you will get in subsequent thoughts coming, thought and a corresponding consciousness. So in the mother's womb, you don't see many, but maybe memories and all that. Some things, like you can see small babies. They smile. Have you seen them? They have their own world inside. And I watched my brother actually with 9 years difference. So they smile. The sad. I don't. Do you have a baby? I don't know. It's that small when they're very small. I mean, they are not open their eyes properly even. They're doing like this. I don't know. Then they're smiling. So that means there's some, thought activity going on. But that is a changing thing. This changing thing. Changing. Nothing there's not changing. It's a conditioned thing. If there's something not changing, tell me. I will try to achieve that. Especially, so this is an interesting thing. The universal, impermanent, anitya sanya is a very special thing. It really awakens you to a final truth of the whole universe, whole existence, whole thing. So that's now when you're reading this, it can trigger. So just imagine, this is not a small key. This is a key that will open a final perception. Yes, Mali? Oh, very good. Yeah. I told you, like, for example, one dog came barking when I'm going arms round. So in that situation too, I would say that, now normally I'm used to having a kind of a strong mind kind of meditation, samadhi, and then I can cut away. But because of the sound, just I can't achieve that. But then I shifted to this. This body is not mine. This consciousness is not. The sound, everything is not mine, and was able to accept it and be calm and keep myself cool. And if someone says suddenly, here also someone maybe suddenly shout at me, you fool, or they take a gun and try to do something, then also I could, that will very help me, that this I consciousness, now what I'm seeing y'all, this I consciousness and all these experience as perception, as these are dayakas or devotees, and they are not mine, they're not myself. But this is not that I immediately see now, but I have before practice, it's working in my back of my head. Hmm? And maybe people are worshipping me or something. That's another thing. That also I'm saying is not mine. It's, so it's not working only for some bad situation. It will work for good situation. But if you get attached to a good situation, you'll be affected by the bad situation too. It's like two sides of the coin, same coin. So you are not going to be happy or sad, and that is real happiness. Like you are going to get with wisdom a kind of experiencing equanimity, peacefulness in mind. So these are benefits of, and this is the reality, because these are all changing things. And what is changing, we think sometimes good experiences, we don't want them to change, but it changes. So which does not follow our orders is not ours. Just because we can move about, that is only 10% thing of control. But the majority, the 99, I would say 99%, I think 1% what we can control and we are misunderstanding is ours. But 99% things we can't control in this body, especially getting older and getting sick with suddenly and all these things, especially death coming. No one wants to die. But it's just then, if you look at it like that, out of our control, things happening, there's such a thing, can it be me? So, and that's a very clear way to see that is not mine. And even, and these, those thoughts and all that depend on a body that is not me. And then whatever thoughts we get, whatever consciousness we have got already, whatever experiences we have got, whatever memories, they depend on this body. And if the body is not ours, it is not wise to think that the consciousness is also not ours. It's only by wisdom we can get more, understanding of this. So, and that way we don't care, then we not care about the past or future. We not worry. It's like we begin to realize it's a dream. And we are having a nightmare in a dream. And if in the nightmare, if we begin to know that it's a dream, it's quite peaceful. Unfortunately, in a nightmare, we really feel it's real. And so, like in a dream, you begin to know it's a dream. That's how you become awakened. That's why people have gone through a lot of hard, difficult situations in the past. When they have practiced like this and get some idea that these experiences were not very real, that this is a states of consciousness, and I'm not in that. I have never been in. I was never that consciousness. They don't worry. They don't have memories about the past. You know, I mean, in my own practice also, mm, like mostly, like I am in that in this moment so much. Very not expecting something. I'm going to be in, say, what's that place next? Brisbane? No, I don't know. Melbourne or somewhere. I'm not thinking about it. I'm quite here now. And where I've been also, I'm not, sort of thinking, oh, I was here, I was there. Somebody asked me today something, no? I think, yes, that gentleman. Ah, right. Somebody asked me about this flying so much. Who did they? Who asked? You, you must be tired of flying here, flying there. I am flying now. That's what I'm doing. So right now I'm flying. So it doesn't make big sense, like that. It's like I'm not thinking it's a big journey because I'm not in the journey too much. I'm in this. Mm, yeah. Of course, I like personally. I like if I'm like here, like near the river, and but I'm not attached to that, and it gives me more. I can do more deeper practice, and but if I'm not in such a situation too, I am in that internal something. Mm. So that's what I'm trying to give you all also. Many years back, I remember I was as I was walking one remote area. Suddenly, one group of people they are going on a holiday, I think, in a jeep. They got down and they all praying and they asking, "Where are you going, Bante?" Then they knew I was going walking as a wandering monk. And suddenly they were very faithful. They said, "Can we make a small kutia for you or a room for you to stay?" And I said, "No, I don't have a fixed place. I want to be a wandering monk." And they were really, I think maybe they were a little drunk also, like enjoying themselves. And they were really troubling me. Please tell us, we want to make you. You must settle somewhere and all that. I couldn't escape from them, like they were troubling me too much. Then finally I said, "Yeah, I'm making a kutia. You can help me." Then he said, "Where, Bante?" I said, "Inside." and, and I told him, actually, this kutia is not clinging, not attaching to some place or things or objects of the senses. And then that becomes your dwelling place. So every place becomes your place. Wherever you go, you become that place. So that's a peaceful thing. Now I hear some people they want to make a kutia in Anuradhapura or somewhere. It's okay. That's okay, but that is okay. It will take some months and do and make that structure. If they change their attitude, their mindset, they can stay. They are already can stay now while they're talking about to make something. They can be in that moment of not wanting anything or not expecting anything. That is their dwelling place. It's peaceful. It may be a bus stand. It may be some place you're already staying. Other things you must take them as they're going to change temporarily. Okay, do you understand what I mean? I don't know. Now maybe you're not having this way. Must be already having your own personal home and and but okay, let it be. But at least when you come to the retreat, you can get this taste of being whatever you are. Make it that your dwelling place. That moment, that attitude, that non-clinging mentality is your home. That is that your mind itself is your home. Not a brick with bricks and all that place. So yeah, I told him like that long years ago. Even now, this Attanagalla, I have put this. The trust is there mainly for to look after those things, and I don't want to. I'll never be. And actually, tell you honestly, I really enjoy here. I'm there. It's a nice place because there's that connection. I'm waiting when I'm going to leave that place. So I do the program and immediately go. Sometimes I stay overnight, but now I have really just after the program I have gone because I want to be just like this. It's so nice. So what is this short time in this planet? And I hope I can give the message and go about the impermanence, not by speech also by this body. Here is very nice. I really just few moments. It's also perception. The Kamaloka that you must remember. Kamaloka means sense world, the nice environment, all that. That also you should not too much attach. It's more nicer to have detachment inside you. That is a beautiful scenery there. You get that? More vast scenery, of detached mind. Hmm. Mm, yeah, you should become more understanding of them, not expecting them to understand you. So you will have better tools now. You will not have selfishness too much. You will not have too much greed or anger. So you'll be able to, fall into their. You'll understand them as they are, not expect them to understand you. So, like for example, those days, if I meet my father, maybe I'll ask him, does he like Nescafe? Or does he like ice cream? And maybe my mother, or some chocolate cake. And others would just wonder, Bante asking like this? So you will know how to do, because you also don't care. If you don't attach to anyone, you will know how best to treat them and how best to bring them to Dhamma. So it will help you. Don't worry, and don't have anxiety now. For now, Tuesday. When is it? Be now this moment. Make this moment an eternity. That you are going to be here forever in this practice actually. Then you will be taking that moment also. Doesn't matter now. Maybe some, I don't know, floods might come, fire. No, here fire might come, and tomorrow will be finished, gone. Just think like that tonight. Where is the siren might. So go at moment to moment. Don't worry. I know many. This question comes very much because now you suddenly see like what you're going into and then what you're doing now. And this will be a seed. This will going to work for you in the future. This will become increase more. Now, like it's like also drugs. Now you've got one shot of heroin. Now finish. You'll have to come to this slowly, slowly. You get it? It's true. Seeing thus disciples, the instructed noble disciple experiencing revulsion. Okay. Revulsion toward the mind. Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge is liberated. So he becomes an arahant also in that. All these suttas are suttas that made monks arahants. Internal as impermanent in the three times. Because the I is impermanent, both of the past and the future, not to speak of the present. Seen thus, because the instructed noble disciple is indifferent toward the I of the past. He does not seek delight in the I of the future, and he is practicing for the revulsion toward the I of the present, for his fading away and dissociation. Just for my curiosity, I know these ideas are all very new. How do you find this word, this explanation? Does it make sense? Yeah, yeah. Wordy? Which one? Okay, okay. That means to lose the desire. Yeah, yeah, understand. But you get the essence idea of what is said. That's fine. That's good. That's good. It's quite clear as it is told like that. Like in the past, it's telling always to not to have desire to that. And the future I or the present I like that. Resonate? Yeah, okay. That revulsion, it meaning detachment actually, so that's no problem. Understand? That's okay. That's good. No, you're getting exactly. You're getting it. No problem. That's interesting because this also revulsion towards the eye of the present, for its fading away and cessation. The ear is impermanent. The nose is impermanent. The tongue is impermanent. The body is impermanent. The mind is impermanent. Both of the past and future. And but one thing, you must use that to go into your each sense organ. Like you must imagine, like you're using the mind itself to to pay attention in imaginary way, in an imaginary way to each organ, so that it becomes personal to you, and like you're creating a kind of a detachedness from your own body for your own experiences. So that's how it becomes a meditation object. It's not some kind of a knowledge thing that you're trying to gather from that. It's actually guidance for your thinking, for your paying attention. It is a kind of a guide, like a signpost. That's how these sutras are there. When Buddha was alive and he was giving it like that, so those people then suddenly applied to themselves, and then they became enlightened because that clarity came within them, and they saw the truth. The mind is impermanent, both of the past and the future, not to speak of the present. Seeing thus, bhikkhus, the instructed noble disciple is indifferent towards the mind, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind of the past, for its fading away and ceasing. They are cut short. Sometimes you might repeat what, put from the initial explanation, bring it to that place, and then that will be, it's a mental exercise. It will be helpful rather than cutting short like this. Also, 157, the last one before my enlightenment. Because before my enlightenment, while I was still a bodhisattva, not yet fully enlightened, it occurred to me what is the gratification, what is the danger, what is the escape in case of the eye, what is the gratification, what is the danger, what is the escape in the case of the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind. When because it occurred to me, the pleasure and joy that arise in dependence on the eye, this is the gratification in the eye. That the eye is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change, this is the danger in the eye. The removal and abandon of desire and lust for the eye, this is the escape from the eye. The pleasure and joy that arise independent on the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, this is the gratification in the mind. That the mind is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change, this is the danger in the mind. The removal and abandonment of desire and lust for the mind, this is the escape from the mind. So long, because as I did not directly know as they really are, the gratification, the danger, and the escape, in the case of these six internal sense bases, I did not claim to have awakened to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment in this world with its devas, maras, brahmas, in this generation with its ascetics and brahmins, its devas and humans. But when I directly knew all this as it really is, then I claim to have awakened to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment in this world with its devas and humans. Knowledge and vision arose on me, unshakable is my liberation of mind. This is my last birth. Now there is no more renewed existence. 160, rising of suffering. Because the rising, continuation, and the before one is also good. Let's see. Delight, okay, in 160, one sutta there, 19 bracket 7, delight. Because one who seeks delight in the eye seeks delight in suffering. One who seeks delight in suffering, I say, is not freed from suffering. One who seeks delight in the ear, in the nose, in the tongue, in the body, in the mind, seeks delight in suffering. One who seeks delight in suffering, I say, is not freed from suffering. One who does not seek delight in the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, does not seek delight in suffering. So when you have read this, sometimes when you're eating some nice food, okay, and suddenly you're going to taste this nice, taste, and then you're delighting in your tongue. Okay, when you have read this sutta, then what happens? It will work in your mind. Oh, now I am going to allow this delight. That means I'm going to delight in suffering. Okay, this is Buddha's language of what happens into our mind when you allow desires. Because now when you allow that desire, it will increase other unwholesome states of your mind. That means you feel more sleepy, then you will have the nature of getting angry more, because each one is related. When one is allowed, especially desire, so now this wisdom, now what we are doing is, all the defilements mainly depend on ignorance. Hmm? So now this opposite of ignorance, you're getting knowledge, wisdom is what we are doing now. So from the root cause, this is going to be, destroyed. One who does not seek delight in the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, in mind, does not seek delight in suffering. One who does not seek delight in suffering, I say, is freed from suffering. Because the next one, or the because the arising, continuation, production, and manifestation of the I is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. The rising of ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is the arising of suffering, the continuation of disease, the manifestation of aging and death. When you read this, you must picture yourself like even in your mother's womb. Before initially the eye, ear, nose, tongue did not arise. When it arise only to that flesh body, that you could see that diseases come, a cough, a virus, or something. So you must know that, like if you don't have a body, how blissful it is. Just some imagination. So initially, when the ear is coming, it's nothing but, suffering is coming. Hmm? So you're studying now this whole existence. The cessation, subsiding, and passing away of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind, with the cessation of suffering, the subsiding of disease, the passing away of aging and death. Abandonment, the last one. Because I will teach you the Dhamma for the abandoning all. Listen to that. And what because is the Dhamma for the abandoning all? I is not to be abandoned. I is to be abandoned. Forms are to be abandoned. I consciousness is to be abandoned. Eye contact is to be abandoned. And whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, whether pleasant or painful or neither painful nor pleasant, that too is to be abandoned. The ear is to be abandoned. The ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind is to be abandoned. Mental phenomena are to be abandoned. Mind consciousness is to be abandoned. Mind contact is to be abandoned. And whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, whether pleasant or painful or neither painful nor pleasant, that is to be abandoned. This because is the Dhamma for abandoning all. One 68. Because all is subject to birth, and what bhikkhu is the all that is subject to birth. I is subject to birth, forms, eye consciousness, eye contact, whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, that too is subject to birth. The ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, whatever feeling arises with the mind contact as condition, that too is subject to birth. Seeing thus bhikkhu, the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards the eye, towards the forms, towards the eye consciousness, towards eye contact. He understands there's no more for the state of being. 172. At Savasti, then the Venerable Nigajala approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side, and said to him, Venerable sir, it is said alone dweller, alone dweller. In what way, Venerable sir, is one alone dweller? And in what way is one dwelling with a partner? There are migajala forms cognizable by the eye that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasant, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu seeks delight in them, welcomes them, and remains holding to them, delight arises. Where there is delight, there is infatuation. Where there is infatuation, there is bondage. Bound by the fetter of delight, migajala, a bhikkhu is called the one dwelling with a partner. There are Migadala sounds cognizable by the ear, other odors cognizable by the nose, taste cognizable by the tongue, tactile objects cognizable by the body, mental phenomena cognizable by the mind that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu seeks delight in them, he is called one who dwells with a partner. Migajali, even though a bhikkhu who dwells thus resorts to forests and groves, to remote lodgings, where there are few sounds and little noise, desolate, hidden from people, appropriate for seclusion, he is still called one dwelling with a partner. For what reason? Because craving is his partner, and he has not abandoned it. Therefore, he is called one dwelling with a partner. So now, even here in solitude, if you know, say, you could know now people who come here for like recreation, they must be having barbecue. We used to have those days. It was interesting. If I look back, it's nice. And I remember, and suddenly now, now only I remember. Suddenly, think about it. So, what is that? In solitude, you're there with all this campfires and enjoying. So though they are in solitary environment, their desires are so much, so they are not living alone or in solitude. Actually, solitude according to the Buddha's way of solitude. You may be in the city, you may be in some very crowded area, but your desires are less, and you are having not restless thoughts. Maybe you have just one thought. Samadhi means you are having one thought. Okay, now I will tell you that also. Like you samadhi means you are having one thought. Okay, so that means you have less desires or no, then you are in solitude. But this is one way of defining solitude. But this kind of solitude is helpful for you to go into a deep experience also. Buddha recommends this. Go to mountain, like areas. Go to jungle. Go to some quiet place, because that's where the Buddha they chose. For why? When you are in that situation, they can they might you are able to undisturbed if you practice, if you try to keep the mind in the present moment, and not to even look at the scenery or even finally, and pay attention to your body and try to develop that mindfulness, then that way it's easy to practice in this kind of environment, and then you might even go into a deep experience. But people who have trained, who have been taught like that, if you are not taught like that and you just come here, you will suddenly get unusual thoughts, especially connected with desires and worries and fears also, or like this. And then you will go in that direction. Especially sometimes you will be happy to be here with drugs. Hmm? And some people like if they are not trained, they get these negative thoughts and they just allow those negative thoughts and just go on that while they're in solitude. So solitude cannot be handled by everybody. So if it should. Now that's why when initially I always tell people can meet me, ask me anything. Simple things might come, but already you have been put in a track where you're going in a certain direction, where the solitude can be a big blessing. But if you are not in that track, normally people is not good. It will happen, that other negative things will take over more strongly. Hmm? It is said like this. How to explain this? It's said like if you have a pond, you see an elephant in the pond, nicely bathing and all that. And a small cat also sees, oh, the elephant is, bathing, is very comfortable. The cat will jump into the water. So the Buddha says two things will happen. Either it will go really down or it will float up. It will have no footing. Same thing will happen, Buddha says, someone goes into solitude, like silence and all that. he'll be lost in that. So unless your mind is quite trained, or at least now you're trying to train, then it's okay. Mikachala, even though a bhikkhu dwells thus resort to forest and groves to remote lodgings, where there are few sounds and little noise, desolate, hidden from people, appropriate for seclusion, is still called one dwelling with a partner. For what reason? Because craving is his partner and he has not abandoned it. Therefore, he is called the one dwelling with a partner. There are Mikajala forms cognizable by the eye, but by eye that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu does not seek delight in them, does not welcome them, and does not remain holding to them, delight ceases. When there is no delight, there is no infatuation. When there is no infatuation, there is no bondage. Released from the fetters of delight, Migajala, a bhikkhu is called a lone dweller. In the next page, Mikajal, even though a bhikkhu who dwells thus living in the vicinity of a village, associating with bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, with male and female lay followers, with kings and royal ministers, with sectarian teachers and their disciples, is still called one lone dweller. For what reason? Because craving is his partner and he has abandoned it. Therefore, he is called a lone dweller. 174. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Then the Venerable Samidhi approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said, Mara Mara. In what ways, Venerable Sir, might there be Mara or description of Mara? You know the meaning of Mara? Mara means the devil. The devil, right? In Pali, Mara means the devil. Where there is the I samidhi, where there are forms, I consciousness, things to be cognizable by the I consciousness, there Mara exists, or the description of Mara. Where there is ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, where there are mental phenomena, mind consciousness, things to be cognizable by the mind consciousness, there Mara exists, or the description of Mara. Where there is no I, Samidhi, no forms, no I consciousness, no things to be cognizable by the I consciousness. There Mara does not exist, nor any description of Mara. Where there is no ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind, no mental phenomena, no mind consciousness, no things to be cognizable by the mind consciousness. There Mara does not exist, nor any description of Mara. So next one is short in the next page. Samidhi 2, Samidhi 3, Samidhi 4. Venerable Sir, it is said a being, a being. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be a being or a description of being? Have you underlined them, seen the Sinhalese reference? Some of them, no? But they are cut short, so I don't know whether I. Venerable Sir, the Venerable Sir, it is said suffering, suffering. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be a suffering or the description of suffering? It's completely to let go all the six sense organs. Okay, that's why. But it's nice to go through them, so your mind also get used to that thinking. The Samidhi 4, Venerable Sir, it is said the world, the world. In what way, Venerable Sir, might there be the world or the description of the world? Where there is the I, Samidhi, where there are forms, I consciousness, things to be cognized by the I conscious, there the world exists, or the description of the world. Where there is the eye, ear, nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, where there are mental phenomena, mind consciousness, things to be cognized by the mind consciousness, there the world exists, or the description of the world. Where there is no I, Samidhi, no forms, no I consciousness, no things to be cognized by the I consciousness, there the world does not exist, nor any description of the world. Where there is no ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind, no mental phenomena, no mind consciousness, no things to be cognized by the mind consciousness, there the world does not exist, nor any description of the world. This very interesting sutta of an enlightened person. We read the second one also. Upasena. On one occasion, the Venerable Sariputta and the Venerable Upasena were dwelling at Rajagaha in cool grove in the snake's hood grotto. Now, on that occasion, a viper had fallen on the Venerable Upasena's body. Then the Venerable Upasena addressed the bhikkhus thus: Come, friends, lift this body of mine onto the bed and carry it outside, before it is scattered right here like a handful of chaff. When this was said, the Venerable Sariputta said to the Venerable Upasena, We do not see any alteration in the Venerable Upasena's body, nor any change in his faculties. Yet the Venerable Upasena says, Come, friends, lift this body of mine onto a bed and carry it outside before it is scattered right here like a handful of chaff. Friend Sariputta, for one who thinks I am the eye, or the eye is mine, I am the ear, or the ear is mine, I am the mind, or the mind is mine, there might be alteration of the body or change of the faculties. But friend Sariputta, it does not occur to me. I am the eye, or the eye is mine. I am the ear, or the ear is mine. I am the mind, or the mind is mine. So why should there be any, or so that enlightened person is telling when he's about to die, is now telling, I have no idea this is mine, this size. So he's telling it that room will get dirty. That's the reason he's telling them to take his body outside. This was the brother of Sariputta, I think. Then, so why should there be any alteration in my body or any change in my mind? He would have told like it's a normal thing. Now they will wonder, no, if he's now bitten by this, he'll be struggling and telling, "Oh, please, please, no." He will not tell you to go. He'll tell, "Please bring an ambulance," something. But he was telling to take his body outside, and they're wondering. Then he was telling why he was not excited, because it's nice to hear while just if you are dying, also, no, to tell the other persons around there, and it must be because I making, mind making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been thoroughly uprooted in the Venerable Upasena for a long time. That it does not occur to him, I am the eye, or the eye is mine. I am the ear, the ear is mine. I am the mind, or the mind is mine. Then those bhikkhus lifted the Venerable Upasena's body onto the bed and carried it outside. Then the Venerable Upasena's body was scattered right there, just like a handful of chaff. 185. Subject to disintegration. Then the Venerable Ananda approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said the world, the world. In what way, Venerable Sir, is it said the world? Whatever is subject to disintegration, Ananda is called the world. In the Noble One's disciple, and what is subject to disintegration? The eyes, Ananda is subject to disintegration. Forms, eye consciousness, eye contact. Whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, that too is subject to disintegration. The ear is subject to disintegration. Nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is subject to disintegration. Whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, that too is subject to disintegration. Whatever is subject to disintegration, Ananda, is called the world in the Noble One's disciple. Discipline, I'm sorry. 185. Empty is the world. Then the Venerable Ananda approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it is said, empty is the world. Empty is the world. In what way, Venerable Sir, is it said, empty is the world? It is Ananda because it is empty of a self, of what belongs to self, that it is said, empty is the world. And what is empty of self and of what belongs to self? The I, Ananda, is empty of self and of what belongs to self. Forms are empty of self and of what belongs to self. Eye consciousness is empty of self and of what belongs to self. Eye contact is empty of self and of what belongs to self. Whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition. Now this is jump, you know that this is cut short, right? It applies to all the sense organs, and then whatever feeling arises with the mind contact as condition, whether pleasant or painful or neither painful or not pleasant, that too is empty of self and what belongs to self. Why? Because it's changing to another. So something changing from one feeling to the other and so on. So you don't have any thing to be called as a person which does not change and tell this. So what you are taught, it's a thought only, an idea that is a person or a self, some idea, but it's not really existing because the self material is a changing thing. So you, because of your desires, you are making an idea, oh, this is me, this is idea. But when you're seeing the change of things, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, then that idea of self, you know, it's not there. It's only phenomena. It's a happening, taking place. Because of one cause, the effect is happening. It is ananda because it is empty of a self, of what belongs to a self. That it is said, empty is the world. 193. It's an interesting one. 193. The diet. Because I will teach you the diet. Is it correct? Diet? How do you pronounce this? Correct or diet? DYAD. Anyone? The English is okay. Diet or diet? I think diet, right? Means diet is okay. Yeah. And what bhikkhus is the diet? The eye and forms, the ear and sounds, the nose and odors, the tongue and taste, the body and tactile objects, the mind and mental phenomena. This is called the diet. If anyone bhikkhus should speak thus, having rejected this diet, I shall make known another diet. That would be mere empty boast on his part. If he was questioned, he would not be able to reply. And further, he would meet with vexation. For what reason? Because that would not be within his domain. Because consciousness comes to be independent on a diet. This is the important one. Because consciousness comes to be in a dependence on a diet. And how because does a consciousness come to be in a dependent on a diet? Independent on I and forms, there arises I consciousness. The I is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Forms are impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Thus, this dyad is moving and tottering, impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition, now this is very interesting. Now, this thinking is very important to have an idea. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the arising of I consciousness is also impermanent. Now that cause is previously explained by the Buddha as impermanent. He's going back. It looks silly actually. Someone just thinking, he might think it's silly, like Buddha is giving the answer and then going back. But this is a way of thinking you must get used to get that wisdom regarding the impermanence. Okay, I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition of the arising of I consciousness. What is the cause of I consciousness here? Explain. What is the cause of I consciousness? Buddha has told already in the beginning. Because consciousness comes to be in dependence on a diet. And how because does a consciousness come to be in dependence on a diet? In dependence on the I and forms, there arises I consciousness. The I is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The forms are impermanent and changing, becoming otherwise. Right? Now you go back to this question we asked before. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the rising of I consciousness is also impermanent. Okay? The cause and condition of rising of I consciousness is what? I and forms. Okay? So it looks very obvious, okay, but it's important to think like that. Cause and condition for the rising of I consciousness is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When because I consciousness has arisen in dependence on a condition that is impermanent, so when he tells like that, the Buddha tells like that, you must go back to the I. It depends on an I and an object. And you must imagine yourself, imagine that how the I is impermanent, changing thing. So never a consciousness can be an icon. You never see something and experience something. These things happen in consciousness that will be permanent. Okay, it's not that by your experiences you think about it. You know that the very cause for it to where it depends on, it is always, it will be changing thing. Okay, when because I consciousness arises independent on a condition that is impermanent, how could it be permanent? The meeting, the encounter, the concurrence of these three things is called eye contact. Eye contact too is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the rising of eye contact is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When because eye contact arises independent on a condition that is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Contacted because one feels, contacted one intends, contacted one perceives. Thus, these things too are moving and tottering. Now, here another interesting thing, contacted because one feels. Before I explain, like, after these three come together, you have feeling. Okay, so that contact is what is told here. One feels, that is the Vedana, feeling aggregate. Then contacted one intends. So what you feel, um, you react. That's where the intention comes. Intents. Contacted one perceives. Perception come actually. Okay, perceives. Contacted one perceives. Thus, these things too are moving and tottering, impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. So it's just following. Starting from I is impermanent, and so on. You can go back also how the I arises. Okay, one is food, and one is karma. Okay, like that. So they're all depending on impermanent causes. It's just somewhere you have to see. Like this is helping you in so many ways to get an idea. The causes are impermanent, therefore this is going to be impermanent. Contacted people. Then independence on the ear and sounds. These there arises eye consciousness. Independent on the mind and mental phenomena, there arises mind consciousness. So 197. Now nearly 1 hour or 1.5 hours or 2 hours we have been reading this. Okay. Or what do you think? These 2 hours, like in the morning, we have more samadhi meditation, right? Which is more fun? That morning 2 hours or now this 2 hours? Tell honestly. Sorry, both. That's good. That's good. But this is more. You need more effort, right? Do you? I don't know. I don't know your experience. But there you're falling asleep also. Okay, in the morning. So here, what do you think is more good karma or more powerful karma? That samadhi, little bit you get, or now what you have been doing now? This, no, definitely, definitely. Not easy for me also to digest this, actually. But subconscious inside tells me, like a gut feeling tells definitely. Okay, because now the other samadhi, you get more fulfillment immediately also. This, it's not easy to get, but good things come difficult way, right? 197. Then the Malunkya Putta. Then the Venerable Malunkya Putta approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in brief, so that having heard the Dhamma from the Blessed One, I might dwell alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent, and resolute. Here now, Manikiputta, what should I say to young bhikkhus when a bhikkhu like you, old aged, burdened with years, advanced in life, come to the last stage, ask me for exhortation in brief? Although, Venerable Sir, I am old, aged, and burdened with years, advanced in life, come to the last stage, let the Blessed One teach me the Dhamma in brief. Let the Fortunate One teach me the Dhamma in brief. Perhaps I may understand the meaning of the Blessed One's statement. Perhaps I may become an heir to the Blessed One's statement. What do you think, Malinkiputta? Do you have any desire, lust, or affection for those forms cognizable by the eye that you have not seen and never saw before, that you do not see and would not think might be seen, what you have never seen. In other words, this simply what you have never seen, do you think you'll have any desire for that? Hmm? Okay. No, Venerable sir. Do you have any desire, lust, or affection for those sounds cognizable by the ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind? For those odors cognizable by the nose, for those tastes cognizable by the tongue, for those tactile objects cognizable by the body, for those mental phenomena cognizable by the mind, that you have not cognized and never cognized before, that you do not cognize and would not think might be cognized? No, Venerable sir. Here, Malankya regarding things seen, heard, sensed, and cognized by you, in the seen there will be merely the seen, in the heard there will be merely the heard, and in the sense there will be merely the sense, in the cognized there will be merely the cognized. When Malankya regarding things seen, heard, sensed, and cognized by you, in the seen there will be merely the seen, in the heard there will be merely the heard, in the sense there will be merely the sense, in the cognized there will be merely the cognized, then Malankya you will not be in that, by that. When Malankya you are not by that, then you will not be therein. When Malankya you are not therein, then you will be neither here, nor beyond, nor in between the two. This itself is the end of suffering. I understand in detail, Venerable sir, the meaning of what was stated by the Blessed One in brief. Having seen a form with mindfulness muddled, attending to the pleasing sign, one experiences it with infatuated mind and remains tightly holding to it. Many feelings flourish within, originating from the visible form, covetousness and annoyance as well, by which one's mind becomes disturbed. For one who accumulates suffering thus, Nibbana is said to be far away. Very nice. Having heard a sound with mindfulness, muddled. Having smelt a odor with the mindfulness muddled. Having enjoyed a taste with the mindfulness muddled. Having felt a contact with a mindfulness muddled. Having known an object with a mindfulness muddled. For one who accumulates suffering thus, Nibbana is said to be far away. When firmly mindful, one sees a form. One is not inflamed by lust for forms. One experiences it with dispassionate mind and does not remain holding it tightly. One fares mindfully in such a way that even as one sees the form and while one undergoes a feeling, suffering is exhausted, not built up. For one dismantling suffering thus, Nibbana is said to be close by. When firmly mindful, one hears a sound. One is not inflamed by lust for sounds. When firmly mindful, one smells an odor. One is not inflamed by lust for odors. When firmly mindful, one enjoys a taste. One is not inflamed by lust for taste. When firmly mindful, one feels a contact. One is not inflamed by lust for contact. When firmly mindful, one knows an object. One is not inflamed by lust for objects. For one diminishing suffering, thus, Nibbana is said to be close by. It is in such a way, Venerable Sir, that I understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by the Blessed One in brief. Good, good, Malukiputta. It is said that you understand detail the meaning of what was stated by me in brief. He also becomes an arahant in the end. Next sutta also. Because I will teach you what about one who is subject to decline, about one who is not subject to decline, and about the six mastered bases. Listen to that. And how bhikkhus is one subject to decline? Here, bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu has seen a form with the eye, there arises in evil, unwholesome states, memories and intentions connected with the fetters. If the bhikkhu tolerates them and does not abandon them, dispels them, put an end to them, and obliterate them, he should understand thus: I am declining away from wholesome states. For this has been called decline by the Blessed One. Further, because when a bhikkhu has heard a sound with the ear, so with all the sense organ, it is in such a way, bhikkhu, that one is subject to decline. And how bhikkhus is one not subject to decline? Here, bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu has seen a form with the eye, there arises in evil, unwholesome states, memories, and intentions connected with the fetters. If the bhikkhu does not tolerate them, but abandons them, dispels them, put an end to them, and obliterates them, he should understand this thus: I am not declining away from wholesome states, for this has been called non decline by the Blessed One. It is in such a way, bhikkhu, that one is not subject to decline. And what bhikkhu are the six mastered bases? Here, bhikkhu, when a bhikkhu has seen a form with the eye, there do not arise in him evil, unwholesome states, nor any memories and intentions connected with the fetters. The bhikkhu should understand this thus: this base has been mastered, for this has been called a mastered base by the Blessed One. Further, bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu has heard a sound, it applies to all the sense organs. 200, next one was 202. I'm wondering whether I have really marked these suttas. Sorry? Sorry? No, I think it must be. I think it's okay. Mm, because I will teach you about one who dwells negligently and about one who dwells diligently. And how because does one dwell? Maybe I'm getting tired. then, then I'm thinking maybe because sometimes I mark something interesting, maybe. Let's see. Because I will teach you about one who dwells negligently and about one who dwells diligently. Listen to that. And how because does one dwell negligently? If one dwells without restraint over the eye faculty, the mind is soiled among forms cognizable by the eye. If the mind is soiled, there is no this here. This definitely I have underlined. It's a good one. If the mind is soiled, there is no gladness. Okay. When there is no gladness, there is no rapture. When there is no rapture, there is no tranquility. When there is no tranquility, one dwells in suffering. The mind of one who suffers does not become concentrated. When the mind is not concentrated, phenomena do not become manifest. Because phenomena do not become manifest, one is reckoned as one who dwells negligently. If one dwells without restraint over the ear, nose, tongue, the body. So each organ, when we enjoy, we know we corrupt our mind. And then internally we don't have that inner joy. The inner joy gets slowly diminished, and when there's no joy, you don't get samadhi, you don't get concentrated, and you don't see depth, deep things naturally. Now when you control, that's the reason for sila. Purpose for sila is to protect our inner joy. And how bhikkhus does one dwell diligently? If one dwells with a restraint over the eye faculty, ear, nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is not soiled. Over the eye faculty, the mind is not soiled among forms cognizable by the eye. Now, if the mind is not soiled, gladness is born. When one is gladdened, rapture is born. When the mind is uplifted by rapture, the body becomes tranquil. One tranquil in body experiences happiness. The mind of one who is happy becomes concentrated. When the mind is concentrated, phenomena become manifest. Because phenomena becomes manifest, one is reckoned as one who dwells diligently. It goes to each sense organ. 204. Not yours. Because whatever is not yours, abandon it. 204. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. And what is it? Because that is not yours. The eye is not yours, abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Forms are not yours. Eye consciousness is not yours. Eye contact is not yours. Whatever feeling arises with eye contact is as condition, whether pleasant or painful, or neither painful nor pleasant, that too is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. The ear is not yours. The ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind is not yours. Whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, that too is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Suppose because people were to carry off the grass, sticks, branches, and foliage in this Jeta grove, or to burn them, or to do with them as they wish. Would you think people are carrying us off, or burning us, or doing with us as they wish? No, Venerable Sir. For what reason? Because, Venerable Sir, that is neither ourself nor what belongs to self. It is like, for example, now we are here. Somebody comes and cuts the grass there and go. Okay, or takes something here. So not inside here. I think people. That's how we have put slowly. It belongs to us. With our attachments, possessiveness. So same way Buddha says. Now he's talking about the place where I was staying, Jetavanarama, Jeta Grove in India. So same way to look at this body is very nice. You can just gives a very clear idea. If you want to experience it at one time, it's really you're seeing it like it's another body. But we have to reduce our desires to a certain extent to get that concentration power. Otherwise, it's not easy. Like it doesn't look. It looks like it's not obvious. What your feeling rises with. You can't tell someone, you can't go to a disco and tell something, this body is not yours. Actually, I said one time, I will tell you the story. When I had this transformation, like age of 18, I came to Sri Lanka. And my cousins were all going to, all this, they have parties, birthday parties and all that. So, one of their friends. So I was also going with them. And they were all dancing, right? They were all looking for a partner and dancing. So I felt now I am in the Dhamma way and all that. And I want to prove to my cousins that I also going to dance. So this one girl, I danced with her. While I was dancing, I was telling her, this is all Dhamma. I told her that I remember this is all Dhamma. And maybe she thought I'm very weird slowly. Then later on, I sat down in the corner, and the whole night I waited until the night finished, looking at the impermanence of the of the lights and all this function. Because those days I didn't know I don't need to go. My cousins call me, then I also go for dinner, this, that. Later I realized I don't need to go. I was so naive those days in the beginning stages. It was interesting. My mind was in the Dhamma and my body was a young boy. It was a big problem. So they have asked later, it was like a family friends. Actually, that boy, gentleman, is now his sister's birthday party or something. They were family friends. So they have talked later. Who's that boy? He was talking when he was dancing. That what is this is all Dhamma? He has said. So then late I realized no, I didn't need to go for this. So I stopped. Even my uncles, they had dinner there. They used to send the food to me to the room like that. So it all started changing. I stopped going to all these, functions. Maybe this may be something slowly, not at once. It should come naturally, even by, you should not disturb the people around you, not to show obviously what you're doing, and not to criticize them or look at them in a critical way. That should also be very important. You send those vibrations and they will wonder. Then they will also know, they know you have come to the meditation retreat. And some who don't like these things at all, they'll be waiting for your mistakes. They will wait until you get angry or this thing, and they said, "Oh, now you see, you went to that meditation." So this is now I know you all experience this very much because you are going to that environment. So they're already waiting and they want you to fail. So, and they want you to be. So don't worry, you don't have to try to impress anyone. Just be natural, normal, be honest. This will really be a big message to everybody. It will be nice. Feel like you're going to another family. Now when you're going back, you're going to be adopted there. All right. So now it's very easy to deal with situations there. You just try to make them happy, but when they're trying to do something immoral, that coolly you say you can't do, like lying or something. But other things try to be, accommodate. They will be wondering, you are not enjoying these things, but why you are, they will know that they feel your selflessness. Once I remember, in the initial stage, my father or my parents in Kandy, they were then in Kandy, then in Sri Lanka, another city. So they were going for this Bodhi Puja, like a puja. It's like a ritual thing. So when got into this, I have no rituals. I was directly with the Dhamma. So it was like something. Now I'm also taking you all like that. Little bit bring some rituals for your protection, something like that. But main thing, like the olden time, same way. So suddenly my father and everybody were going for a Bodhi Puja. Now my mother was my first disciple. She knew exactly my what I was doing. So they were going for this ritual. And my father called me, then I said, yes, I'll come. And my mother noticed that and she realized that I don't do these rituals and I'm coming. And then she knew that it is just out of compassion to like to accommodate to that and not to make it like and then I did come like that. So sometimes you'll have to if it's really bad only you say no, it's not good, but other things you must be very accommodative. They must see your selflessness and because there's all are suffering from selfishness, and out of your spirituality should show more selflessness. And the main thing is not to identify again as personal to you, those people, whoever is with your wife, your children. From this, if you can look more from this, it will be easy for you, and it will take little time, don't worry, because initially you want to like this you got something, and then and you might but as time goes you'll learn to be harmonious, and easily without talking you will be converting people. They will see it's a better state of life, better state of mind, better state of way of life, more peaceful, more, I mean, in real situations they will see the big change, that they also face suffering, and that you feel someone is not facing suffering, and they see your lifestyle, you have been doing this, that, and they know it must be working for the person. Now don't specially be too enthusiastic, I want to show them. Just see what really happens, see whether this retreat actually works for you. I don't know. Hmm? I'm also not trying to force you all, I'm also looking at what's really happening. If there's some any other retreat or any other thing that will change you more, go for that. I'm not telling you to stick to this. I'm telling you to get liberated somehow, somewhere. Do it. දෙන්නද මං කියපු එක very important. අනිත්ගේ අරමුණක් තියෙනවා ඒක කරගන්න. මට දැන් දෙන්න පුළුවන් දේ මම දෙනවා. ඒක හරියනවද කියලා බලන්න. මම දන්නවා කියන මට දන්නවා මට වෙන දෙයයි. අනිත් අයත් බලන්න ඕනේ අපි දන්නේ. හැමෝම කියයිනේ මේක කියලා. Everybody will say this is the right way or only way. I don't know. You try it and we can see. I don't have to tell. We'll see what really happens. Mainly with your desires, that should diminish, and then getting angry or whatever, those things, these are the clear signs. They should get reduced. 200, we read that, no? No, Venerable Sir. For what reason? Because, Venerable Sir, there is neither ourself nor what belongs to ourselves. So too, because the I is not yours. Whatever feeling arises with mind contact as condition, that too is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. 207. Because when what exists by clinging to what, do pleasure and pain arise internally. Venerable Sir, our teachings are rooted in the Blessed One. When there is the I, because by clinging to I, pleasure and pain arises internally. When there is ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind, by clinging to mind, pleasure and pain arises internally. What do you think, because is the I permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. But without clinging to what is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change, could pleasure and pain arise internally? No, Venerable Sir. Is the ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind permanent or impermanent? It's impermanent. What is impermanent? Suffering or happiness? Suffering. But without clinging to what is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change, could pleasure and pain arise internally? No, Venerable Sir. Seeing thus, because the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards the eye, ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge, is liberated. He understands, destroyed his birth, the holy life had been lived. What had to be done had been done. There is no. This is Arahant. You know? This is the statement of an Arahant, finally, who has attained. He knows this is his last birth. The next one also, I am superior. Because when what exists by clinging to what, by adhering to what does the thought occur, I am superior, or I am equal, or I am inferior. Venerable Sir, our teachings are rooted in the Blessed One. When there is the I, because by clinging to the I, by adhering to the I, the thought occurs, I am superior, or I am equal, or I am inferior. When there is the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind, when there is the mind, by clinging to the mind, by adhering to the mind, the thought occurs, I am superior, or I am equal, or I am inferior. What do you think, bhikkhus? Is the eye, ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. But without clinging to what is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change, could the thought occur, I am superior, or I am equal, or I am inferior? No, Venerable Sir. Seeing thus, he understands there is no more for this state of being. Interesting, no? That not little, sorry, that old lady there, she was there yesterday. She's very tiny, that's why I said little, She had this nice smell coming, So I can just imagine while they're practicing, whether it's Australia or anywhere, doesn't matter. Certain divine beings, they would be there. It's interesting. 3 days back, no, 4 days back. You were not there? And she said that. Yes. I will tell you one, sorry to disturb you. When you think like that, when a action done by that is lot of anger can destroy a lot of good karma. This idea can destroy a lot of good karma. You get it? It's not like that. Actually, it has like out of anger. Definitely, one action done, it has karma. But like Angulimal also, he must have some kind of anger, to kill the people, to go on murdering. Okay, but now even I have hit people with anger. When I was young boy, actually until I was 18, but 14, until I went to Southern Africa, I was physical, very physical. I have hit people where blood will come. Like I don't know, I had some kind of inferiority also. And in the school, they are very strict also. I had to get daily like caning. And my mother removes my pants, like marks of caning. So now when I look back, I'm just to tell, I'm telling these things that happen, but it doesn't come to my memory because I've done so much good, so much, like especially in this path, not in terms of even giving the Dhamma. This is also good, very good, but more than that, my own experience in the Dhamma, that this is not me, not I, and these things those things don't come to my mind at all. So in a way, I see that these karmas are all, they might take like Angulimala, after he realized this, how he had to go through those karma in this life. How was it? When he used to go for alms round, when he comes back, he used to come with blood. Somebody throws a stone, it hits him. So all that karma which he would have to go through in lower worlds, he was going through it in this life through wounds and small, small. So this is a mysterious thing about the practice. It washes your sins, I would say, clears your sins, and also it makes that karma to take place in a smaller way. So you are keep doing these things, but you don't recollect, oh, I did this, I did that, or maybe it's now going to, no, that is gone. And the very fact that you are now doing the Dhamma or whatever, it's already showing that you are past that level of where that sin can block you to practice the Dhamma. If you're not practicing the Dhamma, even while, that means there must be not, the karma is too powerful. Okay. So now that you are practicing means definitely you're coming out of all these things. I mean, anybody who is practicing. That means you have the potential. Sometimes you might think something too much. That's another problem. Sometimes some things has happened that you are thinking too much. Oh, I had done this or this has happened, and then you are calculating. You're calculating the karma, how much it might happen. No, it's not. Then that becomes a karma of that wrong thinking. That's why it's good sometimes to meet somebody and then clear it, and definitely then it becomes, it's not to be thought so seriously, but not to be repeated also. That's it. No, he's very easily forgiven. He's forgiven. Yeah. So that's what I said. It's not taken very seriously. It's not a very big deal. You get it? That's why normally even court very easy way to escape from the court is what? Mentally. So sometimes the victim party, the parents, they're very upset. This guy, when he hurt my son, was okay. Now he's mentally sick. I saw one clip, one place where they showed me very interesting. I felt so sad for this father because suddenly they are putting this the person who killed the child as mentally unfit so that he won't have to go through severe punishment. So there is something, the intentions will be not this little muddled. And anyway, I don't want to tell exactly like that, but I don't think something you should worry. But you must not put it yourself. Oh, I and it's okay. What has happened would have happened in a state where one was more confused or whatever, or depressed or whatever. But it doesn't mean that now you take it. Now I'm still depressed and I will do it. You understand? And then I will be, like forgiven from this. This is very important, not to repeat again and again. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. They also go to, actually, even they have a lot of sensual desires, this and that, and they commit some things. Um, there is karmic repercussions, of course, for everything you are doing. So uh, even such a person, I don't know if the person can practice the Dhamma and is going on the Dhamma path and not repeatedly going on, that he has a change in his thing, and then this person is recovering definitely. That we can't calculate how much that will come to you and all. That's very complicated. That is, it's called unthinkable. One of the unthinkable things some divine beings might be able to calculate like that, but definitely there is some, there's something will happen. Whatever action has a kind of this thing, but definitely there should be some signs of a person trying and doing things in the other way. That means definitely there's no problem, nothing to worry so much what has happened. 209. Things that fetter. Because I will teach you the things that fetter and the fetter. Listen to that. And what bhikkhus are the things that fetter, and what is the fetter? The I bhikkhus is a thing that fetters. The desire and lust for it is a fetter there. The ear is a thing that fetters. Ear, nose, tongue, the body. The mind is a thing that fetters. The desire and lust for it is the fetter there. These are called the things that fetter, and this is the fetter. 210, this one. Maharaj, next page. Because there are forms cognizable by the eye that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu seeks delight in them, welcomes them, and remains holding to them, He is called a bhikkhu who has entered Mara's lair, who has come under Mara's control. Mara's snare has been fastened to him, so that he is bound by of Mara, and the evil one can do with him as he wishes. There are bhikkhu sounds cognizable by the ear, mental phenomena cognizable by the mind, that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu seeks delight in them, the evil one can do with him as he wishes. There are bhikkhus forms cognizable by the eye that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu does not seek delight in them, does not welcome them, and does not remain holding to them, he is called a bhikkhu who has not entered Mara's lair, who has not come under Mara's control. Mara's snare has been unfastened from him, so that he is not bound by the bondage of Mara, and the evil one cannot do with him as he wishes. It is applied to all the six sense organs. 215, page number 215. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha on Mount Vulture's peak. Then Sakka, Lord of the Devas, approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, stood to one side, and said to him, Venerable Sir, what is the cause and reason why some beings here do not attain Nibbana in this very life? And what is the cause and reason why some beings here attain Nibbana in this very life? There are lords of the Devas, forms cognizable by the eye that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu seeks delights in them, welcomes them, and remains holding to them, his consciousness becomes dependent upon them and clings to them. A bhikkhu with clinging does not attain Nibbana. Where there are Lord of the Devas, sounds cognizable by the ear, mental phenomena cognizable by the mind that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, so it said, if a bhikkhu seeks delight in them, welcomes them, and remains holding to them, his consciousness becomes dependent upon them and clings to them. A bhikkhu with clinging does not attain Nibbana. This is the cause and reason, Lord of the Devas, why some beings here do not attain Nibbana in this very life. There are Lord of the Devas forms cognizable with eye, mental phenomena cognizable by the mind, that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a bhikkhu does not seek delight in them, does not welcome them, and does not remain holding to them, his consciousness does not become dependent upon them or cling to them. A bhikkhu without clinging attains Nibbana. This is the cause and reason, Lord of the Devas, why some beings here attain Nibbana in this very life. Now, this is very important. What I explained yesterday and day before yesterday, remember that whoever has karma and there's a last thought coming, that the last breath they can't keep their attention. They get distracted and the causes are there for consciousness. Okay? So that means there's clinging. When there's no clinging whatsoever, so if there's some clinging to some object from the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, so the thoughts come, something that is you have got from the five senses. Okay? So if you have some desires for that, a thought will come, the consciousness will come. You won't be able to keep your attention to the last breath. Okay? So now think here, it explains very nicely. So if you have no clinging whatsoever, then only it's possible that only, now here it is said, his consciousness does not become dependent upon them or cling to them. A bhikkhu without clinging attains nibbana. The state of nibbana, he attains that who has no claim whatsoever. So if he had some claiming, there will be a last thought and consciousness will be there, he'll be reborn. But now who has no claim whatsoever and no karma, he'll be able to stick to the breath like that. And the conditions are not there for consciousness, and there he attains nibbana. Okay? That's a very deep one, but try to think about it, it's good for you. Okay. To leave all these bondages is not easy, but one day you'll have to go on this path. Better to familiarize. I think this has been the same Sinhalese one has been this thing, because now here there's no sutta here, right? Not much. The next one, can you see? But it you don't have the marking, no? Yeah. So Panchasika. Doesn't matter. 233 is a good set of suttas are coming now. Very good way to contemplate. 233. Because whatever is not yours, abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. What is it because that is not yours? The eye is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. The ear is not yours. The nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is not yours. Abandon it. When you have abandoned it, that will lead to your welfare and happiness. Suppose because now when it's read like that, when I'm reading very fast now, but you should do it slowly and apply to your own eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and you tell it to yourself, abandon that. Okay, that will very much help you. You have to apply to you. It's not this is a repetitive. Hmm? It's actually completely repetitive. Why? Just it's a meditation object. And when you're doing that again and again, you're freeing yourself from this because our normal ways clinging to it, holding it, whole thing that has been for endless is the normal natural thing. So you're now creating the other way. These things help me so much. I now remember an incident. One of my brothers, actually, I would call him a brother because my uncle's son, like we were brought up together, like the same toys and all that. More than my brother, we were close. So when I came to the Dhamma also, he's the one who come and make fun. He doesn't want a seriousness from me. So he used to come to my room. I used to stay with my grandma's place, and I had pirit and chanting, and so he used to off the pirit, and he wants to have a friendly conversation with me, and he no respect nothing. So other relations were very jealous, because they used to peep from the balcony and look, we are talking, and I was not this open like those days. In the initial stage, I was very stoic, or what do you call it? How do you say it? Like stoic, yeah, stoic, right? Yeah, more. It's like suddenly this came to me, this knowledge too, and it was very apparent, and some people would have thought I had some mental problem. Yeah, really, really, because I look so different actually, too calm and too like serious, and but there would have been compassion coming out that was there. But for a young boy to be like that, it was look a bit. My grandma, people like that who had simple faith, they really understood, and they gave me protection. Dinners and all that they would serve, and like keep me guarded. And all others were very upset actually, the other uncles, and not upset, they were thinking what's happening to this young boy. So this my cousin, we were to like gather. He he was trying to join the national airlines, and he couldn't pass the exam properly. So to like flying, he was doing pilot. He was studying for the CPL and all that. So then they for flying hours he joined the air force. So those days they have this the war was going on in Sri Lanka, north of Sri Lanka. And then one time I was in the monastery. I was meditating with my teacher in Island Hermitage that time. So, and I knew he was in danger. Like they're always carrying these 60 commandos or something. This big, this Russian, bombers, and not carrier planes. Like so. Once last I met him in a dinner, and then he said, like his experiences and all that. Like it's not easy in the war zone. You're there, like the smallest sound, you feel nervous. Like you're living like a deer. Very. I saw his nervousness even. So he went last time I saw him. So later, I was my one day, one night in the evening when I met my teacher in his room. While he was teaching like this, something, he suddenly said, "My thoughts went to your that brother, your cousin." So I know when he goes out of the topic, there's something in it. And then he came back to discussing things. Next day, I get a telegram and telling me to come to the city, Colombo. So I tell the other monk, he come to give me the telegram, and I said, "Oh." I said, I just told him, my teacher, Bante told last night about my cousin, maybe something about my cousin. I just told him. I didn't want to tell him the final thing, but then I went. When I went there, I can see all my relations, especially the ones who were little really worried, what is he doing? They were so materialistic relations, some of them. And they were waiting for me how I am going to face this suffering. They were all suffering. And of course, I went. They were, I never forget, they were all waiting. And I just went to the room. I went out away from them. I crossed through them. They're all waiting in the hall, and they're looking on, looking how I'm going. And I went into the room and I sat down on a chair like this. My mother was the one who followed me. And immediately I have been studying this practice. I have been seeing my ear is not me, the eyes are not mine. And then suddenly, um, now this suffering is going to come to me also if I wrongly think about it. So then I suddenly applied this as I have been practicing this so much. Suddenly I realized these ears, now I'm hearing this information. Do I like to hear this? No, I don't like. But what I don't like I'm hearing means, is it mine? Is it in my control? Then suddenly when I was really focused like that, I was like seeing this ear like another ear and the sound like another sound. And I became very peaceful, not connected with what was going on. And my mother saw that actually. And those days, she was so faithful and she didn't think I'm the son or something. She used to go down and prostrate. So this is very interesting. Sometimes maybe one day you'll have to face something and this will be helpful. Not one day, don't wait for these things. Do it even for small things, everything. And more you do it, you will find you will not be worried or sad. Now recently my father, that's something also. I think the strongest thing, if I could have felt something, and I was also watching, I was been wondering, so many years of practice, all that, how I will take it. I was just thinking, it's not overwhelming me. Anything is like a very, it's there, but something is different is there. I have been getting some memories of it. That is unusual. Maybe I'm not still fully detached. That's that I'm thinking, or from the sense objects. Yes. Goodbye to my father. You mean I didn't say goodbye? I have said goodbye when I ordained, I think. You know? No, no. I think I was very active. Like my brother was getting my advice for the decisions, and I was actually telling my brother to give him better to give him a natural, much as possible a natural. So he was in it also because he was also with the ICU and he's very active with the as a doctor. So he knows what goes on more and more. At that age, so frail and this thing, is suffering, more suffering like that. So I can't get too involved in this also because I have other problems with the rules and all that, and I don't want to. So I was just giving him some kind of my idea of things, and of course he was to take the decisions and all that. So it came. Of course, I brought the monks and all that when this was to be removed. I knew. Of course, my brother when he finally I heard him from the phone. He cried, but it doesn't come like this to me. I was quite numb, I would say. Numb means even now I'm not. It's quite an external thing. Like it's not like anything inside. No, nothing. I can't say. That part I can say no. I don't see. I was telling goodbye. I think I'm more involved with him. I think a monk will be more involved before you live, even after you die. You understand? I'm not persons who say goodbye. I'll be checking his rebirth too. We are like this. Not only him, even others. I would hope I could help them even when they. I think that's why our relations stop there. But the monks don't. They are more helping, more supporting, giving a person a more support. I think because they have a bigger picture. Now, after he just died, I was not there for the rites and all that. I went straight to my rest of the practice I was doing. I was there only when, actually, it's funny, I was there right at that moment. I was in the toilet, and then suddenly the thought came, I must go. And then I got the message the oxygen level was going down. So I quickly rushed to the ICU there. Soon as I came, his eyes were just there and slight breathing. Or I didn't know there was life, and his eyes were just, and then suddenly it went, this thing. And then I thought he fell asleep. I didn't think he passed away because there was no sign of really like passing away. And when his eyes closed, then suddenly it was like just so still. Then I was having doubt. Then the nurses were there behind. Then I called them, and that time he has passed away. So uh, there were no big goodbyes because I have been doing this goodbye so many times. First, as the ordination, I have told the story when I'm going to jungle also. Like sometimes we keep some signs for them to contact or communicate. Now that when I went without doing that, then also I was remembering, like now like my father and like that. Then I thought of these khandas rising, passing away. What is that? So like that. Slowly, the brain has been so many years. I told you it has been killed. Before death is happening, is more killing. Like, I mean, it's not proper English, but I hope the idea goes. Um, so it's not like you pretend. I also like to know really. I would be very open about what I'm feeling because I really want to, for you all also to, I hope you all also will get this blessing because some people maybe they are very hard and not showing and maybe with this insight there. It's not like that. If I have a slightest pain, I will show. I will tell, oh, this is because I want to show. And, really, if I'm not painful, I'll be okay. Do you have that experience? I mean, this recently only my father passed away some days. Sorry? They're still around. You're imagining when this happens. This will help you, definitely. Better do that and, yeah, one time. And share this to them. Very important. You really experience it, and while they're living, not to force them, you can maybe give a book or maybe in front of them you can read or do something and just share a little bit that you have repaid them enough. Buddha says like that. So it's a long story I told, no, about my cousin. Yes, I suddenly remembered with this. Another thing happened, very interesting things, like this. If I tell, now they all sad and cry, 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 everything. Okay, and okay, after some years, and okay, I had this now. No, the body is not to be found. Okay, the plane has disappeared with 60 commandos. The body is not to be found. Actually, I'm also feeling very grateful because once he saved my life in the swimming pool when I was a young boy. Mm, uh, I can't swim properly, like I have taught to swim once, I swam, that's it. I didn't practice enough to, later I became interested in the Dhamma, so I'm not interested all these things. So anyway, one day we were in the pool before, I came to the Dhamma complete, like 16, 17 years old. We were in Run Valley, I don't know in Sri Lanka, this area, Run Valley. And in the swimming pool, we were all playing a ball game or something, and I didn't know the deep end area. I suddenly stepped into the deep end, and then I was trying to put my leg, come. I couldn't, I was going inside and coming up. Then I saw him, I know he's a good swimmer and he knows how to, they have been trained to. So I just called Malli, Malli. So he knew I'm serious. He knows others I'm joking. So when he saw my expression, he knew I was in trouble, and he came towards me swimming, and he put me to the. So I remember always, oh, he saved my life too at that time. Anyway, not like that. As I become a monk, I was really became a monk with a lot of love that I must help all beings, all people, all go on this path. So I didn't think about one relation or somebody or not like that. So when I went on this path, one journey I started in when I was like the third year of my monk life. Long distance I went on a wandering journey. with the blessings of my teacher. When I left on that journey, he told me, like he knew I was going on a very special journey. So he told me, I never forget, the protective devas will be with you when you're going like that. I never forget him. On last I asked his permission, and that was like 1,500 kilometers all the way. And actually, I was planning to go half of it, but some things happened that gave me a lot of energy, and I came back also. It's altogether like 1,500 kilometers within 2 months. So every day is like 30 kilometers of walking, 15 in the morning, 15 in the evening. It's not like I'm going like that, I'm meditating and going. Many experiences were there. So I was cutting across, what was it? I was cutting across LTT, the terrorist control area. It's like 98 kilometers. Now, there's a lot of things, like, I'm not going to tell you that, but regarding my cousin, I'm going to tell you something. So, what happened? Then finally, when I went to the tip of Sri Lanka, that is, there's like a navy base. It's called Dhammakulapatna. There's like a kutia, and the navy wanted me to rest there, and I stayed about 1 week, 2 weeks, I can't remember. And they want to give me all the support, like to give me like a forest experience. So little away from there, near the beach, like a bush, they made it like a cave, so I could go and meditate there. So after my dana, I used to go there, meditate, and come like that for 2 weeks or 1 week, I can't remember. I stayed. And when I was there, later the last day, now I thought, I remember now, my brother's flight would have fallen somewhere. It's Palali. Palali is the place they couldn't land because of bad weather. That's how it is, and technical fault. That was this thing. But the flight or nothing was found. So I didn't want to bring a personal thing to, when the commanders came to me, I didn't talk about anything. I just gave them the Dhamma and left. The last day, when the commander came, I thought I would just put this and, just tell him that I had a cousin who was in the Air Force and this happened. So I told him. And to see, he said he was on duty at that. That is after like 4, 5 years, 6, 7 years maybe. This happened. So he said, I was on duty and we went to check the flight. We couldn't find. We went everywhere. It was near this area. That was the last recording came, whatever, the radar, whatever. And then he said, 1 month ago, one fisherman, their net got caught to something deep under, and they called us, they told us, and then we went, and when we went to see, it was the engine of that plane. And that engine was exactly, he was telling where they made like a cave for me, 3 kilometers into the sea. Exactly that, said Bante, where we made that place for you is just 3 kilometers, into the sea. That's very funny. And another thing is, when my cousin had this, I must tell, I couldn't tell you this. When my, this happened, this incident happened 7 years or that time, some years back. Now, as I told you, as being a yogi, not only when you die, I would try to find something out when you are, what happened to you after that. So I did try to find about my cousin. Okay? And some information came to me, some perception, I will say, that it was a shock. The death was like a shock, like an accident, like a blast or something. When it happens like that, your consciousness cannot get a proper consciousness. It is also consciousness, but it is a stuck consciousness. Okay, this is due to his karma also. So I know he was not very interested in the spiritual things. Like he was very materialistic. He wanted to be in the army all the time from young age, pistols, guns. And I also like at a young age. So we both were brought all these toys of guns, and I also liked very. I also know one birth I would have been in the army very much. And so anyway, he, so he was not very religious or anything like that. He was not bad also, but he was not very good. So what happened? He Um, so that time I looked what I was searching for what has happened to him, whether I could help him in some way. I got this, like a side kind of information that because of the shock rebirth, that his consciousness is stuck there in the, that in like a pit, like a deep in the water. In most of them who are in the accidents, it happens. Okay, so now we do all these rituals, right? Give him merit and all that. That doesn't reach him unless you go to the physical vicinity of that incident, and then you transfer the merit. That's how some mechanism works. Okay, people especially go with accidents. So sometimes people have this idea and they go there and do some rituals, right? So people have some idea about this. So I heard about him. So now that time I can't go, it's full of war going on. So I kept it aside, and I completely forgot about him, and I went on my path to be a blessing to everybody. In a way, I'm thinking like this. You can see now when you're going like that, when the right time comes, maybe that's the time. Exactly 1 month ago I started my walking journey, wandering journey. And exactly when it was found also, the location, I was exactly there. I don't know whether any devata took me there, I don't know, I'm not sure. But I have experienced this in several locations. There are times, so what I did was, I told the army commander, I'm going to stay another day here. And I told him just to get me a extra food for two people. I didn't tell what I'm going to do. So anyway, I made a packet out of another that other food I got. The next day I went where I was meditating. Just a little there is fishermen. They are sending their boats and all that. So there's a small army post also. So I told them why I have come. I want to offer this to the, this food to somebody, the human being. So fishermen are there, and I want to go into the water and offer. So the army also, they were very touched. They said, "Oh, your brother has passed away with a blast or something. So we like to, and then they told the army people. They were very glad, not army, the fishermen. So we went into the water. I remember I gave it to that person, and when I came out, one of the army soldiers, the soldiers, there are two soldiers in that post. One of them, he was going like not him, like somebody else. And he was like full of, flame coming out of his nose. And then I asked, what is happening? He was telling Swami Mansa, like a, Bante, like a huge rock is being put on my head. I just can't. And then I asked, did you get this experience before? He said, no, Swami Mansa, no. And like he couldn't talk properly also. And when I looked at him, I just saw my brother's face. It's like he used to have this kata, kata, like like flame comes, and uh, this same when he gets that, I see him, like he's uncontrollable. He's getting this flame and all that, and tears and all that. He's too teary. Same face I saw. I don't know whether it's him. It showed me, but anyway, that was a very. Some others happen also when I come sometimes suddenly, like walking long distance, and once I was coming from the footprint of the Buddha, in one mountain. It's called Siripada in Sri Lanka. So I was walking for 1 or 2 days and coming towards Colombo. It was nearly 12 o'clock, my dana time. So I quickly went arms round one house, and it was like few minutes, and I just went to the last house. Now I had no other place to take the food. So I told them the time is near. Is there a place for me to take the dana? And they were, Sri Lanka, they are very nice. They suddenly said, come, on us, ended. And arranged quickly this thing. And so I thought it's a mother and this was a boy. So I took my dana, and I gave my blessings and all that. And then she told me, it was, yeah, yes, yesterday, that is nearly 1 year since her husband has passed away. And it is yesterday, she has seen her husband in dream, or that night, or asking for food. She has never seen the husband all these years after he has died. And that night in the morning, she said she has seen her husband asking for food. So, and so it's, I don't know. You have to make out of it. It's interesting sometimes, in the unseen world and the seen world. Yeah, my cousin was with one relationship, so many others, we don't know, we can't recognize. Now, when I had in Gaul, in Sri Lanka, in Gala, the programs, suddenly someone who used to play cricket with me, he has recognized and he's with tears. And he's coming, I have been searching for you, Swami Manse. And he reminds me as a young boy how I called him. You have to have a few people to play, no? So we have to go and call all these people. And he was so, this thing is now doing a business in that area and lot of crowd there, and he's just coming, can I have a moment with you? And he just tells his sentimental feelings, that how, and they are surprised now to see me, like touched. So but I would never recognize them when they grow like this. It's funny, we might be meeting people, but what relationships we don't know. Our souls have had relationship. That's the reason, especially on this special occasion of going on this path to be liberated. And I think it's a special meeting, that that's social long connection, a long journey, so many lives practicing and coming to this. So let's go for this. We are coming to very interesting few suttas here. I'm remembering too many stories now. Did I say this? I don't know. Where we stop? Can you please remind me? Yeah, the paragraph or whatever. Yeah, in that one, which area? Suppose. Okay, yeah, I told the whole thing, right? That suppose because people were to carry of grass, sticks, branches, and foliage. I told that part. Okay, we are coming to a very important one, the next one. Okay. Impermanent with a cause, the same page. Because the I is impermanent, the cause and condition for the arising of the I is also impermanent. That the I has originated from what is impermanent, how could it be permanent? The ear is impermanent, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is impermanent. The cause and condition for the arising of the mind is also impermanent. And the mind has originated from what is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Seeing thus, because the instructed noble disciple experiences revulsion towards the eye, ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind. Experiencing revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated. When he is liberated, there comes the knowledge, it's liberated. He understands, destroyed his birth. The holy life had been lived. What had to be done had been done. There is no more for the state of being. So, the I, one cause is, does anyone remember or have I told this? What is the one cause of the I? It's a part of the body. So, what is one cause? Yes, and food, yes. Did I told you? I don't know any. Do you remember? I told before. One is food. Even in the walking meditation, I remind one part. Aharam sambuddhan kayo. Aharam aniccan dukkha. Kayang aniccan dukkha. Food is impermanent suffering, not yours. Body is impermanent suffering because it comes from an impermanent thing. It has to be impermanent. Okay. So this is how to look at it. So other one is karma. Karma is made by ignorance and craving. Hmm? That is impermanent also. So it is propelled by an impermanent energy. So this has to be impermanent too. Suffering with cause. Because the I is suffering, the cause and condition for the rising of I is also suffering. As the I has originated from what is suffering, how could it be happiness? This is to be thought very slowly and deeply. These are we are going very fast. Okay? This is to be thought slow and deep. So This you must not think like, oh, like, how now eye is suffering. Of course, we experience present things also from the eye. Is that suffering? Present things? No. Right? How is it suffering then? In the long term, if you look at what ultimately happens from that experience, does it end up in suffering or it goes on suffering, happiness to happiness? Huh? A pleasurable feeling you experience, when you look it in the long term, what happens to it while experiencing that, does it lead you that experience to more happiness or does it lead you finally to sadness? No, you just think slowly. The biggest thing is to have a like a relationship. It's like drugs also. When you have like romantic experience something, it's like a shot of drugs going in. You forget, you can't you don't see reason, or there's no reason also. That's why some people say that how does that person fall in love with this person? Because it's so looking ugly, but but then it just that is called love is blind. No, I don't know. I'm hearing these words from my mother those days. And but then how does that happen then? So that finally when it changes to something, okay, it might you want to suicide. People like to suicide if they, to that extent of that stronger the pressure, the stronger the the suffering. So even little pleasure, when you miss it, it's because of its impermanent nature, and it's bound to be impermanent. It's nothing but suffering is brought by that. So unless you detach from it, the detach means you are not involved in it. So it arises, you are not experiencing the pleasure, nor you're going to experience suffering. So what when you're not experiencing pleasure, it is neutral, okay? And if you're not going to experience suffering from out of that, is it not real happiness? So when we are very attached and something doesn't look at once, but so it's very important to slowly think. But now you don't have time to do that. Okay, a little bit you can try, but if you find you have no time, you have to just read on. Okay. Bhikkhu, the eye is suffering. The cause and condition for the rising of eye is also suffering. And as the eye has originated from what is suffering, how could it be happiness? The ear is suffering, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is suffering. The cause and condition for the arising of the mind is also suffering. As the mind has originated from what is suffering, how could it be happiness? Because the next one, because the eye is non-self. The cause and condition for the rising of the eye is also non-self. As the eye has originated from what is non-self, how could it be self? You can say non-self as well as nonsense. I is nonsense. And the ear is non-self. The ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind is non-self. The cause and condition for the arising of the mind is also non-self. And the mind has originated from what is non-self. How could it be self? So they have summary. Next page. Don't worry. I think I'll finish soon today, and you all can go for a walk or reading, contemplating. But you will have to finish that last one completely and then start this, and you have rest of the day to finish this, okay, and tomorrow. So but you have covered a major part, and tomorrow only you have this is once in your lifetime, remember that. Take it like this. For me, it changed my life. Of course, I was there for 14 days with my teacher, but doing the reading the same things what you are doing, not only little, only I made it little half of the content for the 5 days. But because I will teach you new and old karma, the cessation of karma, and the way leading to the cessation of karma. Listen to that and attend closely. I will speak. And what because is old karma, the I is old karma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by volition as something to be felt. This is very nice. This sutta explains karma in all. The ear is old karma, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind is old karma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by evolution, something to be felt. This is called old karma. And what bhikkhus is new karma. Whatever action one does now by body, speech, or mind, this is called new karma. And what bhikkhus is the cessation of karma. When one reaches liberation through the cessation of bodily action, verbal action, and mental action, this is called the cessation of karma. Can anyone get an idea, like give an idea how the cessation of karma might happen even while in this retreat? Now you already have sense restraint, okay? And maybe you're doing metta bhavana or anapanasati also, okay? A little bit, and trying to have an empty mind. Little bit you're trying that. And now you are also contemplating, these things as body is not mine, feelings are not mine. I told you there are like this can open up a vision. Now you're seeing it, understanding it to some extent. Okay, it starts like that, and this understanding can burst into certain level. Hmm? It has that experience. I think if that happens, somebody might come crawling here with tears in their eye. So it doesn't matter now. Don't do that. I'm telling. So, but I'm just giving an idea that one day it will happen. I hope I'm creating what is this, the path to that. And maybe some glimpses might you, while you're in solitude, this is a possibility. If you're applying this and your past karma is supporting, if these three things are coming together, these some things this not these words only. There's something that will trigger. It's a big, deep truth, reality is present in these words. Buddha is like, like he has become the teachings. He is the teaching, So the teaching, that's why he always said those days some may have come to see his body. He was handsome, maybe very, 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 had a super aura. They say his aura is to go, some say, not in the suttas, says about 1 kilometer. He's when I think about it also I'm feeling something. If I talk too much about it I can't talk. So it's like so his personality, he was a normal person, but there was that aura and 32 marks, which was not like elephant ear or something like that. It had the specific no, there's that handsome faculties. Now, sometimes even there's some great people in the old texts, old recordings, they are told about a great person having the 32 marks. So normally those ancient seers, they already knew. So they have heard that there's such a being appeared, and they used to go search for him when he was famous. He was becoming famous. So in the crowd like that, they used to look. They used to see each mark. Is how the ears are, forehead, and those things are visible, and his feet, they used to look and they see all the marks, and there are two marks that they can't see. One is covered internally, other one is his tongue. The tongue was long, very long. So when they had the doubt while he's teaching, he would take the tongue out and wipe his this thing and put it back inside. We might feel like an alien. So suddenly they realize he read our thought also, and so those days they used to come like that, the Brahmins, and then they listen to him. So this was known even in ancient time that when the being, great being appears, he has the 32 marks. If he's a monk, he'll be that such a being who is going to be the Buddha. But if he becomes, if he lives in the lay life, he'll become the world ruler. So ancient time they already knew. Um, so this, if you happen to see these teachings in that way, I told you, sabbe sankara nityati yada panyaya pasati. This is not a normal word. Yada panyaya pasati means you experience this impermanence from meditation wisdom. Okay? Atanibindati dukkhe. Then you feel completely dispassionate. That shock dispassionate, that is called Attanibindati dukkhe. What is suffering, you will feel completely nibindati, means completely detached, or like you are holding a string, you suddenly notice it's a snake, just you let go. So that let go effect will be there. Soon as you let go like that, esamango visuddhya, that means you touch the Nibbana. You touch the Nibbana. Here, um, what's that? And what bhikkhu is the cessation of karma? When one reaches liberation through the cessation of bodily karma, bodily actions, verbal actions, and mental actions, this is called the cessation of karma. And what when one reaches liberation? So that is where, when you have in meditation, you have experience. When you're in that state, your mind has completely stopped. That's the only time really it stops. No intention whatsoever. No intentions with greed, hate, or delusion. When you have no intention, you're at that time you're not making new karma. That's the only time you're not making new karma. But now also, when you're contemplating, to some extent you're reducing the karma. You know. And what bhikkhu is the way leading to the cessation of karma? It is the noble eightfold path. So now in the noble eightfold path, it is broken down into sila, samadhi, panya. Sila means morality, samadhi means concentration. That's why I told you in with middle metta or anapanasati, you are developing that separately. And I told you, try to keep your mind at the present moment. Just look at the carpet, all that mindfulness, not to look at details, don't recognize other people and even the food or whatever. That is sila already. So already these are when you're practicing, you're developing this noble eightfold path. And suddenly in metta or anapanasati you can concentrate. That will contribute to what you're reading. That is already samma ditti. Already samma ditti, right view. You have already practiced so much in the first book when you read, regarding karma, regarding. So this is eightfold path is slowly being practiced these few days. If you look at it. And because I have taught old karma, I have taught new karma, I have taught the cessation of karma, I have taught the way leading to the cessation of karma. Whatever should be done, because by a compassionate teacher, out of compassion for his disciples, desiring their welfare, that I have done for you. There are the feet of the trees, because these are empty huts. You have empty bunkers. Meditate, because do not be negligent, lest you regret later. This is our instruction to you. You have, a nice riverside. All these are there. Nice field. I think you must read until that page, okay? There have been a mark. No, no. This is just a random mark. No? Very important ones are coming ahead. 250, page number 250. Because the 250, because the uninstructed worldling speaks of the ocean, but that is not the ocean in the noble one's discipline. That is only a great mass of water, a great expanse of water. The ibicus is the ocean for a person. Its current consists of forms. One who withstands that current consisting of forms is said to have crossed the ocean of the eye with its waves, whirlpools, sharks, and demons. Crossed over, gone beyond, the Brahmin stands on high ground. The ear bhikkhus is the ocean for the person. Nose, tongue, the body, the mind is the ocean for the person. Its currents consist of mental phenomena. One who withstands that current consisting of mental phenomena is said to have crossed the ocean of the mind with its waves, whirlpools, sharks, and demons. Crossed over, gone beyond, the Brahmin stands on high ground. This is what the Blessed One said. Having said this, the Fortunate One, the teacher, further said this: one who has crossed this ocean so hard to cross, with its dangers of sharks, demons, waves, the knowledge master who has lived the holy life, reached the world's end, is called one gone beyond. This is a nice one coming, very nice one. 254. It's a very nice one. Maybe until this you can read. Let me check clearly again. On one occasion, Kotita. On one occasion, the Venerable Sariputta and the Venerable Mahakotita were dwelling at the Varanasi in the deer park at Isipatana. Then in the evening, the Venerable Mahakotita emerged from seclusion and approached the Venerable Sariputta. He exchanged greetings with Venerable Sariputta, and when they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to him, "How is it, friend Sariputta? Is the eye the fetter of forms, or are forms the fetter of the eye? Is the ear the fetter of sounds, or are sounds the fetter of the ear? Is the mind the fetter of mental phenomena, or are the mental phenomena the fetter of the mind?" Normally we say that, no? Sometimes I know some people who are trying to control their mind, they suddenly get into this lift. I know, I remember. Uh, so, like, I know this gentleman, like, he's trying to, control his desires so much that, so I remember he got so irritated when they had to get into this lift, and there was this beautiful ladies. Suddenly, he was very angry with them. It was his problem. So it's something like this, blaming the object, but very interesting here. How is the friend Sariput? Is the eye the fetter of forms, or the forms the fetter of the eye? Is the ear the fetter of sounds, or are sounds the fetter of the ear? Is the mind the fetter of mental phenomena, or mental phenomena the fetter of mind? Friend Kotita, the eye is not the fetter of forms, nor are forms the fetter of the eye, but rather the desire and lust that arise there independent on both. That is the fetter there. The ear is not the fetter of sounds, nor are sounds the fetter of the ear, but rather the desire and lust that arise there in dependence on both. That is the fetter there. The mind is not the fetter of the mental phenomena, nor are the mental phenomena the fetter of the mind, but rather the desire and lust that arise there in dependence on both. That is the fetter there. Suppose, friends, a black ox and a white ox were yoked together by a single harness or yoke. Would one be speaking rightly if one were to say, the black ox is the fetter of the white ox is the fetter of the black ox? No, friend, the ox is not the fetter of the white ox, nor is the white ox the fetter of the black ox, but rather the single harness or yoke by which the two are yoked together. That is the fetter there. So too, friends, the eye is not the fetter of forms, nor are the mental phenomena the fetter of the mind, but rather the desire and lust that arise there in dependence on both. That is the fetter there. If, friends, the eye were the fetter of forms, or if forms were the fetter of the eye, this living of the holy life could not be discerned for the complete destruction of suffering. But since the eye is not the fetter of forms, nor are the forms the fetter of the eye, but rather the desire and lust that arise there in dependence on both is the fetter there. The living of the holy life is discerned for the complete destruction of suffering. When I was reading this, I'm remembering one story too. Just right. Uh, it was the one monk who ordained with me. He was from Switzerland, I think, or Germany. Yeah, Germany. But he was in East Germany, and he has so he thought with good vibrations. I had a specific date to ordain, and so he thought he would join me. He has been training for this for 10 years. He knew better than me how to dress the rope also. It's a very complicated thing to dress this rope. It's like one piece of cloth, you have to turn it in so many ways and then put it comes like one dress. So he had trained so much, prepared so much, and even lived a celibate life for 10 years just to prepare. I was so much thinking about this. And then he he's I remember he used to sleep. He used to sleep in the same room. I was also there. Like, we were in the main headquarters of the main, the abbots and all that. The first few days, so he was there. But suddenly I remember he used to hear, the dogs barking, and then he used to tell, why are they barking so much, and he used to go out and come, and he used to have cotton wool in his, ears and all that. So I knew he was very sensitive for this. But I didn't take it. I didn't think it would be a very big issue. So later on, he we ordained together. The most senior abbots, they gave us the robes and told the stances and all that. And then after that, he was with me together. And later on, we went to our main place, Island Hermitage. But I know he was not very connected with my teacher, though he was German. And I was almost like I did this for him also, to my teacher. So he was with other monks, not really getting advice from him or doing anything like that. I remember. And he couldn't withstand. Again, the dog problem was coming. He used to hear dogs barking far away, like in another. Now the island is there, and the villages are quite away from the lagoon. You have to cut across. But it was really disturbing him. And he went away, and he disrobed. That's what I know. He didn't stay long. 10 years preparing, and he also had a lot of imaginations of being like a big monk. Not I don't know. He went on a wrong way. He was so attached to being a monk also. That also. So very interesting thing was he has been the dog trainer in the East Germany side before the wall was. He has been a dog trainer, and he has used that as an official, as a dog trainer, and who is going to patrol with the dogs. He has been one of the soldiers to jump to West Germany, to cross west towards to West Germany. So I think, I don't know whether he told us this or something, but he also related that this would be maybe the karma that is, the dogs are so troubling to him. And it was very interesting. He has been the dog trainer, and then he crossed like that to come to West Germany those days, and and the dog barking was triggering something in his mind that he couldn't psychologically. So, but I wish he had the opportunity to be in a program like this. I have no trace of him. I went to Germany also for programs, but no idea. It's so many years back, 24 years, 25 years. So interesting, like how the sounds are karmically connected. I'm trying to think about it. They're not just coming. One sound could make a different sense to another person, and another person takes it in a different way. How the person have to go through, what kind of feeling he has to go through. So it's not the sound the problem. It is what has, what type of karmas we have, inside. It's a good sutta, isn't it? What do you think? Because we will not blame objects. We know a way out of it also. I have told this another incident of myself those days. Don't, some would take mistake now. It's my. I'm telling about a lot about. I'm only trying to relate. Of course, conventionally, I'm talking about this my. Some might get not here now because it's going as a recording. Okay, all types of people are listening to this, and then they might get some bad thought. They might think I'm like them. That's the problem. So just giving a kind warning. So this happened because I like to tell everything what I've experienced, and nothing is beyond what I not experienced. So it will become something. Can't say I can't do it or it's not possible. And I always relate like that. So once I used to go in the city, in Sri Lanka, the city after spending for the meditation in as a lay person like you all practicing with my teacher. So I like same. I'm going to the city area, okay, and then sometimes I am really so intense initially because I don't want to look at this like that. I want to keep myself mindful. So I know I'm really going. I also make a vow or determination to be intense, and I go like that. So I'm sure somebody looking from outside would think, oh, this young boy is really, he's like meditating or he's very intense. So after many years, I have been going to more forest, and as a monk also, I was practicing in very solitary places and a lot of practice. Later on, I was going in the same city. Then I realized that I'm going very relaxed. I'm not trying to practice in such a way, but I'm sure the city has become more. like more stimulating and all that in this on those couple of years. And what has changed here? Not the object. So all these practices, very in an invisible way, it is changing your system. Now you're doing. I mean, you're putting your even getting this type of thinking, and slowly we don't know how the change is happening. Definitely, some change is happening. But if you now do this and try to go for, I don't know, Gold Coast or yeah, Gold Coast is not here, right? Not here. And if you go on like that, this will just disappear, right? It will be like they say, like to the ocean, you put lime, you put lime to make it Nunuambul. Eh? Nunuambul, and in Sri Lanka we have like a taste with salt, and ambul means like sour, right? To make it sour, it is a nice taste. So normally it is done by putting lime, lemon. Eh? So if, for the ocean, if you put one lemon, it doesn't turn to that. It's so much salt. So it's to say like that. Now you do this practice, and then you go and live a very hedonistic, lifestyle. Definitely, this will fade away. So it's like you have to try your best to bring it back, back, back. Then whenever opportunity is there, and try to practice while you're there also. Especially the company, you must be careful. Don't think you're strong, and soon you go to that company, even great people have been changed by staying. They thought they can change those people, but they changed actually. Mahatma Gandhi, their life stories is interesting. When they were young, how he tried to, he was thinking he can change someone, yeah, and he's found himself going in a bad direction. They're nice to read their real life stories, how this, then you get some idea. And being in a good company can really accelerate your evolution. That's another point. How much alone you're staying in solitude, and but if you get a chance to stay with people who are maybe practicing or doing, it can really make a big change. Influence, I mean. Yes. Yes, you have to understand them. Not only Australia, all over the world now is nobody too much practicing with phones and distractions. And there are not some who are little educated and also really researching. They have everything. And sometimes such people there are. We can't say different. In the office, I used to practice. 2 years I practiced. You meet all types of people there, but make sure this is going to be in your advantage. Hmm. So always your anger, greed, and delusion is your enemy, not the object. So I made a rule when I worked. One is not to lie, because there are many occasions where the environment makes you, like I was doing auditing, and among auditors also they lie. It happens like that, not in your auditing. Auditing we had to do in such a way, but it was audit firm. So I now in the audit firm, my teachers already taught me that this working consciousness, this office consciousness, I have liked it in previous lives. That's why it's coming up again. So if I just do it only, this will repeat again in the future. So he told me to bring the Dhamma consciousness much as possible while you're doing it. Then only it get replaced. Okay. So many people don't know this. That's why they just go, just work. They think when I get free time, I will come and practice. No, this consciousness increase more. So if you can bring little Dhamma, even that environment. So first is Sila. So one, I decided not to lie. So there was this in the audit firm that where I can go on talking, so much experience. I'm thinking what has happened to me. In this group, I'm getting into, because my English now, I'm like taken out of the cage. So I was all this time, so restrained with the Sinhalese, and the English one I'm freely now going on. I will try to stop with this explanation. You ask too many questions. That's the problem. Doesn't matter. I don't. I want to quickly explain this. Sorry. I think, yeah, because you all are facing that situation. There are a lot of important things like this, practical, that. So my teacher taught me already this, so I'm conscious of that. So one is keeping the truth. So one occasion we had in this audit firm, among the audit team, they have like our manager called from far away, and he will check us whether we are doing work, and they will ask, is this person having this work? Then they say yes. So normally, what this the team has their own pact, like a agreement, that one of them go to do some work somewhere of their personal work, and when the boss calls, they would what's this they would say, like they would say he has gone to, like, they call this person, then they would say he has gone to some department which is far away. So it's a lie, you see. So like this happens. So I was like a young person, they see I'm like from Colombo and city. So I have told them very clearly, I have seen this happening. So I told them, please tell exactly the way you see about me. I was telling them not to lie. Not directly, but I was telling, if the boss asks what is Shanaka doing or whatever, tell them exactly. So I had told them this. So they thought I was joking, like I'm not serious. So I decided not to lie, and I also make sure that not to make a show of it. That I'm going to try to follow this. And the other one was, I was also thinking not to, like, keep my sila, and I practiced that time not to look at anybody. Like so when I used to walk, I used to practice. I was dressed up, as a off to the office. It was all my father's shirts and trousers. I had, by that time I had only three jeans and t-shirt, because I used to give also all my stuff from all my clothes, and just kept three t-shirts and three pair of jeans. So for the office, all the clothes I got from my father. He was still fashionable, and so I never forget. And then when I used to go, like so one day in front of me, this one of the colleagues, the call came and asked, Shanaka, have you work? I had no work that time. I had some books. And then he said suddenly, he said, yeah, he said, yes, Shanaka is having work and everything. Then I looked at him, because I put this into my mind so much. I suddenly turned into mode. I said, no, no, no. Like this, I said, no. Like, and then he was shocked, what is this, like. So then I was given the call. I mean, the phone was given to me. And then when he asked, I said very clearly, no, Mr. Kasi Chetty, his name was Mr. Kasi Chetty, I don't have any work. But I didn't want to put him down. They are very innocent in what they're doing. I said, I have some books here. Maybe Mr. Rangedara, this recording might go. Maybe so old, very elder to me. I told Mr. Rangedara might have seen these books, so he might think I'm having work, but actually I don't have any work. So they were very shocked actually, and I kept the phone. Then those cubicles, the offices were like small glass cubicles. Then I remember that all the auditors were talking in, like they were together, like they're having a meeting. I knew this. The meeting is about me. So then what happened? One of the, I knew they were like different people. Some have come to earn some money, and some are university students who have come from village areas, and now they were all talking filthy all the time. Like all feel they're like, the minds are so working like devil's workshop, they say. So they, when they to get together, they're like that. So there's one boy who has come far away. He's a university student from, like his father is a farmer. Sri Lanka farmer means the farmer, it's, they're very rural, but he has entered the university. And so he was also trying to be with these people, talking bad things. I was in a corner for a long time with my books and doing my work. So he came to the room and he said, Shanaka, well, I also had these ideas, he was telling me. But because of these people, I was thinking I must be part of them. That's why I was. Then he showed me a small letter he has written where he want to donate a kidney and all that. So he has kept those things aside because, like he was shy to. He want to be with this group. So like that, they came. Then another boy came with his some problem. All this, they had these things in their heart. And there was another Tamil boy. Tamil means, there was a Tamil boy. He was also with these people. And suddenly, after some time, he's also chanting his Hindu while he's doing the work. The whole atmosphere changed in that cubicle because it's more powerful. And one time I kept a picture of one yogi, not my teacher actually, one in the Himalayas. I used to keep it in front of me, and because I know I used to talk to the picture. I used to tell, though my karma I'm in the office, I am with you all. Like this, I used to tell, and like that I used to practice. And sometimes some officers I can't practice because uh, then in such a situation, not in office, even in college, I used to go to the toilet, lock myself, and chant something and spread metta properly, the practice, and then go out. This habit was there. So because my teacher taught me that don't wait for free time, just do it. Then only that karma will reduce and change. Otherwise, you will just go on and on. This will just go on your life in only those situations. So another one I very much this might you might be faced this. Like I was in the audit firm. This was in I think Lake House. So there was like a gentleman, elderly gentleman in front of me, and I was in front of, like, I was on this side. So he was supposed to be very religious and chanting Pirit, but suddenly, all this filth, talking about filth, and this kind of thing happens. I used to not take part in these things. So they knew I was like a silent, doing something very Galbamuna Kilatamad. Some are very, very upset. They are very irritable to see this energy coming out. Office is very terrible place, very competitive, and so there I remember. But some people I know they know some stillness is coming from me. So I know, but when I had to go to the toilet, I had to pass them, and sometimes their legs are like this. Okay, when I'm passing them, they suddenly take their legs back, and they are like very, they don't know maybe why they are becoming like that, but they are getting some automatic respect. And it's very funny, your mental state will be, even you are not wearing robes, it will have an effect. So it went on like that. One day, I was moved to another office for some, I think I had some other assignment. So now, normally the people in the office, they don't like us auditors, right? They really don't like the audit set because they are coming from. So for them, it's a problem. Only the higher management, they want us to check their content. So when I left, they didn't know I'd be coming back after a few days. It was a short this thing. So they have complained to my boss or general manager that my work is not good, that I'm not auditing properly and all that. Then when my boss told me this, I said I can't tell anything from here. When I go there only, I can study and see what it is. Then the boss told, then we can roll the ball on them like this. He talks. I said I'm not. I told to myself, I didn't tell him, I'm not going to put the ball on anybody. Because they are also in a, I don't know where they will be reborn. It's not easy to. So what happened? I went back to the other office. Then all the auditors came to me, and like they were telling, this person has told like this, told like that, and they were like really want to pump me with anger. So in my mind, silently, I was thinking, my real enemy is not those people who complain. It is these people who are, inflaming my anger, or this thing. But I didn't tell them that. Slowly I can, and then suddenly I told them, no, it's right for them. If there's some mistake in us, they must show it to us. They were surprised, because they want me also to get into that kind of fueling the defilement. So they kept quiet. They might have thought this is mad friend, he doesn't want to. So after that, I had to go downstairs to my office. So when such a thing happens, normally it's like a big, that person will shout or something maybe. When I went down, I could see that elderly gentleman already out, expecting me, waiting for me. What is happening? They didn't know how I will react. When they saw me, he felt so sad, I know. He felt so, he would have felt so regret or remorse. like he saw me and he would have seen that I have not any trace of. So I sat down and he's in front of me and he's like looking at me like, sorry, sorry, sorry. So not telling sorry, but you could feel that, anyway, it went, but tell you honestly, I had internally some hurt feeling. I felt human beings, can they be like this? Like in front of you like this, and they can be backbiting or backstabbing or something. Just thought, I was feeling little, can human beings be like this? So I knew that hurt feeling is also anger. So I knew that I'm not going to deal it with it now. So what I did was, but I know it's not good for me to keep because it's not. It's also kind of anger, not a good. It's a negative emotion. So when I was spiritually strong, times when I felt I had good samadhi or had very good super energy, then I brought him to my picture and just completely blessed him, or had full good feelings, seen truly from my heart. Then it just went away, just to make sure that I am clean. I didn't want to have. So later I ordained, and the ordination that day also is very eventful because there was like curfew, there was some blast somewhere, and so difficultly some people came to my ordination. And there was so when they came, a lot of people like my parents and some other people were there, and it's so interesting. There are only one person from the office. I mean, it was suddenly, it was not announced to the office. To see that gentleman, that gentleman with his son, with some gift, he was also there for the ordination. The gentleman who complained. So finally, yeah, we don't know. This office situation is also a very big connection. Recently, interesting thing happened from the same office. There's one gentleman who comes and actually he was to tell me he had a very lustful wife. These women, they're full of lust. He was telling me, they can't. And he was like disgusted with his marriage and all that. And though he was a gentlemanly type of gentleman, I remember. So he came and now few weeks back, actually, I was going in a holy place. This old man, oldish, we are all old now. So this man was coming, and he looks like he knows me, and I feel I know him, but I don't know where. I can't really properly put. I can't place him exactly. When he was coming, it was very familiar, but I was feeling embarrassed. He might not know, where that I can't recognize him. Then I suddenly remembered is that gentleman. He has been watching the YouTube and is waiting when I could meet him. And finally, it's very interesting. So those people will be meeting in another form. And sometimes, and especially when you are going the spiritual path, they will all get a blessing from you. Even the family people and then the office people, they're also like a family. Some karma you are to be, strong karma is there. The working place as well as your relationships. Is that enough? Some points? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good enough. If they're really doing that, I had a Christian friend actually. I mean, even in them, the one it's in photo print. Haley's photo print. When I was working there, there was a Christian. He was not in audit firm, but we had a chat and so on. So one day I talked about those days I was practicing about remaining in the present moment. It has nothing to do with religion, right? So I told about how not to think of the past and how to. He was a very gentlemanly person. I never forget. He once told me like he had to go in a bus, and that day he was came by bus, and then there was a lot of like all were like packed, and that how much he was trying not to touch the ladies or whatever. So he was really, you can see him. He was also very. So I talked about this keeping your attention in the moment, like the past is gone and the future has not arisen, and to pay attention to the moment. So one day I have talked about it, and maybe I was practicing that also that time. And one day after a few days, he comes one day and He's a Christian, only he's not worshipping, but he was so grateful to me, like, saying, Shanika, I want to tell you something. And we were busy, and then he said, I really want to tell you something. And later on, when we found time, he told me what happened. He said that his father has told him to pick up some guest from the airport. So he has to, he started little late and then he thought he'll make it. So when he was driving, suddenly he saw a big traffic block. And suddenly he was like, he couldn't do anything. The pressure was coming, but the father has told him to do this. And he just couldn't function. Then he said he suddenly remembered me or saw me or whatever, I don't know. Saw my face or whatever. And then he remembered about what we were speaking, how to remain in the present, that the past is the illusion, is gone, and future has not come. So he suddenly recalled the father told me to pick up, and that memory he recognized is haunting him. And then he said his past is no more, and the future, well, it has not arisen. I'm holding the steering wheel like that. He has paid attention to the moment things. Then he saw that he could function, and he actually went on time. Went on time. So these general things will, because human brain, human mind, it's the same makeup, and they might look different languages, but if they are really practicing, it's a good thing, and it's come from different any religion doesn't matter. I tell always Buddha was never Buddhist, right? We are Buddhist, but Buddha is not Buddhist. He's, we have become so yeah. That is. I had Greek friends also those days when I was studying in Nicosia, and they also I used to talk about a lot about compassion. And sometimes they had this octopus, in the sea. He told me once he was pressing and suddenly remembered me, like not to kill, not to, and then suddenly released. And he asked whether I was actually there. I said, no, no, it is that love and compassion, maybe, remember. Yeah, yeah. In the practice, I think it's okay, no? I don't know, what are you, do you face like this? Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Karma. Yeah, yeah. But maybe in this life only, not from a previous life. Yeah, I understand. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Okay, yeah. Yes. It's good. It's good. You must not think them as they or we. Must think is my fellow. Yeah, it's true. It's good. There are good people everywhere, and their languages may differ, their backgrounds may differ. That doesn't matter, and they have got a lot of potential. And you don't force anything. And some things about rebirth, I only think about Edgar Cayce, many mentioned. That will be quite awakening because it's also not from a religion. He goes into unconscious state, and then he brings out these ideas. But sometimes who don't practice, who don't experience, they are very interesting. Interesting in a negative way, I would say. Sorry? Yeah, yeah. It's natural knowledge, yeah, it could be, it could be. And to be born as a human being, there's a lot of potential. I know this Greek friend, though I told about, I gave him some books. I never forced him to Buddha's teaching. I don't do it to anybody. These people, they are coming, all of them are coming. Okay, now they are coming. Now I'm giving them actually some essence thing. He also is very interesting. It's not about the religion. It's about body, feeling, perception. That's why Buddha is told as he's like a philosopher. But he's not a philosopher. You can't name him that way too. If you look at in the Eastern way, it's actually he's an enlightened being of, and he's not bringing some kind of theory or a hypothesis or something he became awakened to, and also the tool of verifying it is different. It's not from some material thing. You have to develop a certain faculty of your mind to experience that. All other religions also same. You have to develop a faculty to experience that, and now even this friend, the Greek friend, i I gave him one book of a Hindu religion, but it has some miracles and all that. So I found it in Greek language, so I gave it to him those days in Nicosia. And he started to believe in karma because that explains the karma, and it's more of a modern person having the old energy, old power of the real, like old Indian this thing. So I knew it will make some effect on him, and he stopped many vices. He was involved in, they had nightclubs, and he was my tenant actually. I had a small room, so and he became very attached to me, or he looked at me as a wise counselor, for anything. So I gave him this book. So one day he took and told, because in that idea, all religions are respected. So this is another modern approach by this yogi in India. Like all religions are respected and they are taken equally valid, and they must follow their own religion. Like that, he also encourages. So this was shown to one of these Orthodox, priests. When he has told like this, the priest has told this is also a religion to be open like that, and then it broke his faith in this. So some of them, they actually not experienced. So they are looking for external. Now even Sri Lanka. Now sometimes they would see why Bante, because now I'm touching the deep teachings properly, and people are not. They are frightened to touch this, but they are not doing anything with this. This they are doing some gathas and taking some little part of some meditation. I see it like that. They are not doing now. I hope that there will be some standard, some people can compare, from if they're honest, if they're blinded and one-sided, that we can't help, but at least who are searching for truth, they have some opportunity to compare. Good people are there everywhere, I'm sure, and I'm very interested to inspire all of them, hopefully. I hope they will not be misled by these robes or my accent or any other, and they will not discriminate me. I come with a lot of love for every one of them. It's true thing. I think we finish. Did we? I think we have finished. Okay. So you have to. We have finished means I have finished my job of. You have to start now. Okay. You have to finish what you have finished. You have to finish from the last part, and then this you have to start. Okay. And yesterday was quite a long session, no, of reading. It's okay. Sometimes, but tell you honestly, no, I don't know. This time I did happen, but in Sri Lanka, when I have read those suttas, when I go to my room, kuti, it's a nice place. One day I really think it's nice for you to. It's a different ancient place, I believe. Some ancient treasures also there. Very dangerous now. Treasure hunters will actually. It's a very some special place. Waterfalls and I think untouched forest for many small area. So my kuti also is, and there's a cave there. So some Himalaya experience also there. The water is flowing through the from inside the cave. So when I go into the room, and sometimes I have just told about this, it's like really massaging my. Maybe now my brain is used to getting used to it. And when I relax like that, not think anything, just forget about all what I did. I could see the samadhi. Samadhi is taking place now. So I can see this. That's why I told you all that it clears any blockages in your samadhi, in your spiritual life, or even your material life. I see this because tremendous good karma is, activated. So it's finished. Tomorrow I will maybe come and. So tomorrow whole day is there. Today and tomorrow to cover this. So wait, I'll tell you where to finish this, not the whole thing. Yeah. Sorry. 235 is where we finished. 254, no? Kotiti, yeah. Maybe you can read up till that one. Okay. Quite a lot, no? Because you'll be starting from the beginning, right? No, it will. Wait, maybe we make it. Sorry, 100 pages. The Kandavaka, how much? How many pages was that? 130 pages. So this is okay, no? 100 pages, billions of gems. Yeah, more you can. If you get some insights, it's infinite. But at least you're bound to get something if you just read through. You have tomorrow and day after tomorrow also you have, okay, morning. So, but don't leave it today, tonight, and then tomorrow. Okay, I think it's okay. Make this retreat a, definitely a special one. Little hardness is no problem. It's not hard. I'm sure you have studied when you're going to university and all that. Sometimes I have kept my feet because I have not studied anything. So last minute I had to put this bucket and keep awake and just read that. It'll be good for you, I think. I think enough. Yes. It's another way of looking at Panchaskandha. When there's Namarupa, there is Panchaskandha, Panchupadanaskandha, Upadanaskandha. No, it is a looking at a different way. Namarupa, when there's Namarupa, Rupa is the form. Hmm? Nama, it comes as it's like attention, manasikara, like that is broken. The one part is broken. The way it's explained is broken. So, but otherwise, Pancha Upadanaskandha is there in Namarupa. It's not that it's not there. When Namarupa is there, name and form is there. Uh, it is to give an idea with consciousness. They are linked. Yeah, this is just to show the conditioned nature. Now, in the Paticca it's only showing links of conditioning, just for you to get an idea. Sometimes some of them are connected, like not this way, like they are interconnected also. But important thing is to get one link that is clear for you, like Jati Pachya Jara Marana. Birth is the cause of. So whatever link that is clear for you to know that when there's no birth, there's no old age and death, right? Just to know that this is the cause for this effect. If this cause is not there, this effect will not come. So just to know the cause and effect, so the direct cause that is immediately affecting only you have as like Jati Pacha Jaramana, then Sankara Pacha Vijnana. Sankara is the direct cause for getting consciousness. Okay, Vijnana is the cause for, but when there is Vijnana, there is also body feeling perception also, if you look at like that. So this is only way of looking at a thing to see the conditioned nature. So to know the paticca then only you can get the anitya sanya, impermanent perception. It can be a leaf falling also, and hair cutting also. So this is something that will trigger the impermanent. But this is in so many ways given for you to get the realization of impermanence. don't try to get the definition too much, you know, like you must, because this is something, only have something clear idea of the, because of this will come. If this doesn't come, this will not come. Yes. Yeah, okay. But it comes simultaneously. To explain, we have to tell one by one. Like, you know, when you have I and object, based on that, the manasikara, there's immediately I consciousness. Okay. I consciousness, immediately there's feeling, perception, and so on. It is coming, like you don't have consciousness without feeling, perception. It is immediately there, it's coming, and it means the reaction is there. So that's why I said now, even Four Noble Truths, when you're experiencing the Four Noble, when you experience the first Noble Truth, you already have the Three Noble Truths there. Like when you see the impermanence, you see suffering. That is the first Noble Truth. Okay? When you're experiencing that, you have no craving whatsoever. That is the third Noble Truth. And the cause of suffering is already, you know, that is tanha, craving. So, but the meditation you did to experience that, maybe the samadhi you practice, sila you practice, and also the type of contemplation you did, that was the path. So the Four Noble Truths in experience. So when you write or explain, you have to tell it in like order. But when it's happening, it's like, I can't call it three-dimensional. It's like it's happening in many dimensions. You know, it's simultaneously. You get it? Not too much. Okay. So are 12 links. Feeling there's contact, right? Passapachya Vedana. So that in the Panchupadana Skandha, okay, you have body, feeling, perception, reaction, and this consciousness. Okay, so that is the general, most broadest way to just put them. That's why they are called aggregates, khandas, aggregate. They are just kept like that. Now it is explained in more detail, finer way how it operates. So one by one, that's why it's so detailed. The 12 link. 12 link coming like avidya, ignorance is the cause for sankara. It's taking one of those khandas, sankara pachya vijnana. So it's going to more detailed function of cause and effect. You get it? Because it's talking about more detail. But this, you must take this one way of looking at the. It's also khandas. You can't separate anything what you're looking without khandas. But it's taking one at a time and telling the cause of it. Now the reaction part in the khandas is a the most you could say descriptive way of explaining more and more. That's why it's taking the 12 links. Um, but this is clear, no? That now, for example, it's explained, no, in one place. Now you have an experience from your ears, okay? Ear and the sound. All right. Based on that, you have some reflection or attention. That Nun said, I think that's a better one. It's attention type, you know, then only the consciousness comes. Okay. That three together, the object, the ear, and the consciousness, it creates contact, the real contact. That contact is the cause for feeling. And that is then the feeling is there. What you perceive, feel, you perceive. Your perception. That is the sanya skandha. And how you perceive as pleasant, you react. Unpleasant, you react with, aversion. Neutral, you react with delusion. So this reaction is called as sankara. Okay. So this is happening like that. So that is clear, right? That's clear. So in one place it explains when this happens one time, whatever material nature was there, that is the form kanda, rupa skanda. Okay, that material thing is what? Ear and the sound. Whatever when that happened was belonging to feeling, it belongs to the feeling kanda. Okay, whatever had the nature of perceiving, that is put into perception kanda. Okay, whatever that had the reaction nature for what you perceive, is taken as the Sankara Kanda, right? So like this, then you can see that, this is five skandha means this is the five domains of body and form. Sorry, body and mind. Oh, yeah, Nama Rupa. You get it? Like when it happens, so they are happening so fast. So they are just Buddha mind can only separate like this. I don't think any other, saint or anyone separated consciousness like this so clearly. Of the Paticsampada. In the consciousness, you have the feeling mainly. Feeling is the main predominant thing. Your conscious is like when you feel something. So with the feeling only, you have craving, tanha. So that's why you have the link in the Paticcasamuppada. You have what you feeling is the cause for tanha, vedana pacchaya tanha. So that's where that is the cause for then upadana and bhava, right? So that's why whatever you feel from the senses, we have sila, samadhi, and panya in stages to remove the tanha for the feeling. So when you remove the tanha, the craving, then karma will be stopped and the khandhas won't come again. That is something clear, no? Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. In the Tibetan, they have even made drawings circular. Hmm. Yeah. Actually, it can't be explained in any of those forms, according to my idea. Um, Even one of those links, that's why I tell when you purify your mind, those one of those links will take you to a there are in the wisdom also there are dimensions of the wisdom, levels of wisdom that can come in the mind. That's why Buddha said that, even when Ananda, Venerable Ananda, when he was already Sotapanna, he said, it's very clear to me, Bhante, very clear to me. He said, don't say that, don't say that. Have you read that sutta? Then he wants, this is the thing that I didn't realize for so many births. And this is because even the Buddha's knowledge of these 12 links and the Pacceka Buddha's knowledge of the 12 links and the Arahant knowledge of the 12 links is also different. And Sotapanna, different means less, less, less. But they have experienced it enough to come out of samsara. You get it? They have understood it enough, but it's such it's a mystery, the greatest mystery and the secret of life. That's why it's wheel of life. So in my own personal practice, I know that, those one link, that's why I tell you, you don't have to, if you can explain these things properly, that doesn't mean you understand this. It's better you don't understand too much verbally. You must allow it in solitude and to make it, if you want to make it experiential. It's very bad when these things are taken to like the university and for teaching and for exams and all that. It destroys the very effect of that. They are meditation objects. They are actually to give an vision. That's why I told now, this is all somebody will tell, this is eighth grade, eighth grade knowledge. It's true. This is Buddha's original words, but for us, our so complicated, sophisticated type of intellectual education and training today, misleading us, thinking we will understand this when it's not something to be done like that. It's something to be done where we are, creating the faculty properly, our brain, reducing our dopamine. Hmm? Dopamine addictions to less, and then creating the frontal cortex to work more powerfully. And in that way, we don't try to understand this, it will just become apparent to us. So that's why I tell when you're reading this also, but now you're reading fast, but don't try to understand something. If you don't understand, skip that, the sutta. Go to the next one, go to the next one. That is better. If something is striking, then okay. Yeah, this is not to be there to, like, you don't squeeze and understand. So this actually, these suttas, what you are reading in Upatissa, also the 12 links and all that, they, Buddha will never tell you that until your faculties are mature. Maybe it will take 10 years. He will see from his Buddha eye, even his own son. He waited for that time. And then only one afternoon he went and told that type of discourse. I think that comes in Skandavagga, no? Where he teaches his son. It's a very nice sutta. It touches Skanda as well as Salayatana, that sutta. And so in that, then only he became Arahant. And the Devatas who also came to listen, they also got the eye of Dhamma. They say that is Dhamma Chakku. So like that he would say, now I am not a Buddha to or my teacher, I'm sure. So he has given this section completely of. So he used to tell also to us, and I also know now that this is, if you want to attain Sotapanna or anything, this section, reading this with meditation will be quite good. It can happen. So, but you must have some theoretical idea, but don't try to get a full idea. But we may be in a hurry to get some idea and keep it in our mind. So wait some patience. So anybody else? And now Simon say will take some rest. Means I thought maybe I don't know. Anything else? No, no. We started at what, 3 o'clock? 3:30? Okay, 3.5 hours. That's enough. This program has been more with this and more with talking. Maybe because the English, hmm, but not in Sri Lanka also. Sri Lanka also had English programs, but 10 days, no, 5 days. Yeah, 5 days. No, your questions are good. That's why maybe. Good questioning. Shows more interest. Practically, you want to do something. That's good. Very happy. I'm sure they interested with the office. I'm sure. I also forget that. I think you all are like me. Sometimes I think you all are living always like but you all are going to now. When people come with their problems, also when they talk to me, I really begin to see their lives. That they are living a family life and they are living with all these moments. But I can see they are evolving souls. That's what I see. I'm seeing that they are going, it's like they are leaving this world stages. It's a matter of time. They'll be practicing. They are like hooked to some, and they are having a life. It's better than being a monk also. Sometimes you're a monk, but you're stagnating, prematurely being put into that situation. But here you have a given, maybe the universe has given you a situation where you're clearing your karma, doing some responsibilities, and really, real way you are slowly progressing internally. That is good. And I wish you all good luck in that. So, wish you all good luck, strength. I can see a lot of you all are benefiting being here. I'm very happy that Buddha's, the sasana, just activating that noble path, noble truth. I think this will be like a medicine for everything, for your body, your mind, in the highest way, in a samsaric way, that it will give all support for all of you further. And your relations also will get confidence, strength from you, blessings. Even you don't meet them, you think of them in the transfer, not with attachment as a duty. Your parents, your relations, your protective deities, all, even in this area, all these other unseen beings who protect, who like the Dhamma, and all the devatas from, especially the four protective devatas, Hatharavaram Devivaru, Sakra Devendra, the king of gods, and Sahampati Brahmadiviraj, Sahampati, the highest Brahmalokas, and Ishivaru, Munivaru, Siddhar, Gandharvaru, Bhairavaru, Nagarajaru. Is here the Tistum Kotya, crores of Devatas, Brahmas, so many planes of existence who protect the practice, who protects the noble who are trying to practice. This dark age is getting little like a dark age, materialistic age period, but who have the potential, souls who have that spark, may they get an opportunity to kindle that and not go down, not sink in this world of defilements and sadness and suffering, that they will rise above that and their spirit will come closer, closer to this wisdom, detachment, purity, peace. While they are living in this physical body, they will have this pleasant abiding. And it will be like a light to others too. Whoever come in contact with them, they will also be getting that